Hello everybody, welcome to the Neon Caster Twitch channel. I am your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. Welcome. We're back with another session of Mystic Lilies. I have not played this live since the actual Kickstarter for Mystic Lilies, which was very exciting to kind of actually have an actual play be part of a Kickstarter promo process. But it's great to be back playing this game again with the designer, no less. Welcome to the stage, Will Yule. What's good?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and I'm very gracious for the wonderful games you've been running.
You know. It's a mixture of supporting my friends who are designers, but also these games are incredibly fucking good, so of course I want to go and play them and tell everybody how good those games are. Especially when the scenarios are ones that I write, so it's the best of both worlds. Also giggling away in the background is a regular appearance on the show, playing Shinichi in Archan. We have Tom. Hi.
Hello, greetings.
Hi,
Good evening.
How are you doing? Have you betrayed a witch lately?
Not for a while. This is going to be an interesting one to give a punt to. Having had a read through the rules for this over the last week. I'm looking forward to giving it a try out. It's very well written, Will. Very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
It's really coming together. The game. I'll leave you to explain the game in a second, what state it's in, and how people might be able to see more of it. But first, we need to introduce our third and final guest on this stream today. We have the wonderful Marcy, who plays Sabine Kistner on Archan. Hi, hello.
I accidentally made the same character again for this show, so we'll just have to keep.
It just makes the character acting easier. No problem.
I've changed my mindset too much to go from my character here from Sabine, so we should be okay.
Now you're Sabine Kistner.
So right. I'm the evil that I sought out to destroy.
Mm-hmm. Real talk, I have like 2 to 3 character archetypes that I only ever play. I tend to play either helpful but disturbing or incredibly stressed out professional. So I absolutely understand.
I need any other.
The two genders.
The two genders. Incredibly stressed out professional. Helpful but disturbing. I don't know, sometimes I feel like both of those on a day-to-day basis. And with opening with a, I think, top-notch gender joke, I think that is absolutely fitting. For the general atmosphere that is Mystic Lilies. But for the people listening in at home who don't actually know anything about Mystic Lilies, what is Mystic Lilies, Will?
Why, I'm glad you asked, Nathan. Mystic Lilies is a tabletop RPG about vengeful witches and dark magic. It is a game about social conflict and drama, where the players work together to create stories about their characters doing terrible things to each other and making like a little magical soap opera play out in front of us, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of using dice, we use playing cards, and we can use these cards to overcome obstacles, strike each other down, and figuratively or literally, and cast magic spells.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the card mechanics in this is something that I find particularly interesting because it's a deck of cards and not dice. The number of outcomes is finite, and if you do a little bit of card counting, you can get surprisingly powerful in this game. Mm-hmm. What shall we talk about before we kind of get into things properly? This scenario that we're going to be playing today is called the Kairos Game. It is one of about 10 setting starters that will be available in the book on release. I think about 10. From
that's fair, right?
From both Will themselves and a variety of well-known tabletop RPG designer people, including Amaraz, Grant Howitt, and Sharing Biswas, if I recall correctly. Who are top-notch designers, and I am actually blessed that I get to write a scenario alongside people like that, to be honest. The Kairos game in particular is inspired by my love of death game anime. I love a good scenario where everybody's backs are against the wall and they don't know who to trust. And in the 11th hour, allies become enemies, and I think that fits the thematics of Mystic Lilies really, really well. Let's see, it is set, and let's do the box text. Then go through everybody's kind of like the rough gesture of everybody's characters, and then we'll get into it. And safety mechanics as well. Safety mechanics always important to discuss. San Maleficarum, a glittering city of hope and fortune. Funded by gambling tourism and talent scouting, the rags to riches stories born from here have given it the nickname Devil's Luck City. Magic users worldwide visit for a different reason, however, to participate in the Kairos Game, a high-stakes gamble based around playground games. It sounds childish, but players are willing to lie, cheat, and ritually sacrifice to win, earning the city's supernatural luck. And our 3 players are going to be 3 of 6 contestants in this Kairos game. But what are these characters? Let's go find out, starting with Marcy. Tell me a little bit about Trifas Malesh.
Hello, I am playing Trifas Malesh, who I'll just read a little bit off of the aesthetics for the character that we picked for the character sheets. Think of Trifas, you should think of mushrooms, blood, and Iron Maiden. She kind of carries herself, think like Susie from Little Witch Academia, but maybe just a little bit more smelly of dried blood and other such things. She is, for some reason, gaining popularity on the stage. No one, not even Trifas, really knows what she does on stage, but everyone leaves feeling weirdly satisfied. And I think it's a really interesting dynamic that Trifas brings to the table.
I drew everybody's kind of like character art for this session, and I was having an interesting time thinking about what Trifas might wear, and I'm like, shall I just give them a gigantic fur coat? That sounds super extra.
Right. Yeah.
And then remembered after the fact that I drew that your kind of aesthetic is about mushrooms, so I don't think I would want to inspect that fur coat too closely.
Oh, heavens no.
Tom, tell me a bit about Archan.
Okay, so Archan is the name of the creature that is currently wearing the flesh of a head researcher from a mystical group that was operating in the area, who did dig far too deeply and greedily and encountered some ancient creature far hibernating in the depths of the earth. Poking it magically, it caused a fragment of its intellect to spark out and possess one of the researchers. It's some sort of horrible ancient creature, although won't have access to all its powers, as most of it's like buried deep within under the sands. And it's generally just going around seeing what all these noisy humans are up to and trying to do something to stake off the eternal boredom.
Well, in San Maleficarum there is a wide variety of gambles to go and fritter your time away on. So, if nothing, this place is entertaining. And last but not least, we have the delightful, the angelic voice of Angelica Dagger.
Indeed, Angelica Dagger is one of the country's foremost pop stars. In fact, maybe one of the world's most foremost pop stars. And did she get there with dazzling talent? Yes. Did she get there with with questionable emotion manipulating magic? Yes. She is like 1/3 early 2000s Britney Spears, 1/3 Look What You Made Me Do Taylor Swift, and 1/3 evil Hatsune Miku. And she is ready to take the center stage.
Absolutely. I was enjoying, like, oh yeah, there's the kind of like Vocaloid aesthetic to Angelica. how can I like carry that in the character art? And it's like, what if there were like disco lights growing from her neck? That'd be fucking metal. So that's a thing now, and I think probably a cool visual element upon a spell maybe being cast. Very very flashman.exe energy. Yes. Let's see. Talking about safety mechanics, we'll go and do that first. While in some of our other campaigns, we like to use the script change system by Brebo Sheldon. That's a little fiddly to do in Tabletop Simulator, so we are using the X card system. We have this card here as standing as an X card. If we hit a topic that any of us would like to stop and work around for whatever reason, just hover over that card and hit F to flip it over, and we'll stop what we're doing, wind things back and work around the particular incident, and then continue as normal. I have used Tabletop Simulator for a while, mostly to play Mystic Lilies. However, I am still very clumsy at it. I will try and not fling stuff into the abyss or off the table. We'll try and keep that functional. Yeah, please don't break. I will cry.
I know the table flip mechanic's been well and truly disabled.
Oh, I have no idea if that is a thing you can or can't disable. Oh no.
I don't have Ruben here to cause trouble with, so I've got to do it with the flick mechanic.
I've noted that I do not have object spawning permission, so I cannot drop a banana on the table.
That's so unfortunate. Were you guys able to see my texts in my drawings earlier?
I think those did appear, yeah.
Good.
That might also be useful for stuff like tracking how many people are winning in rounds and bits and pieces like that. I think we're going to kind of explain the game mechanics as we go, as we encounter in the scenario. I think that's the most sensible way to do it. But in terms of well, since you've reminded me, Marcy, if you enjoy these one-shot shenanigans of indie RPGs and you would like to continue seeing them on this channel, as well as letting us pay for stuff like hosting costs in Roll20 and a wide variety of commissioned artwork from a wide variety of incredible artists, you can subscribe to the Phantom Arts Entertainment Patreon, where you can gain a wide variety of, I'm saying wide variety a handful of times because I didn't script this out correctly. I'm smart. You can access one-page RPGs that I've written, as well as micro RPGs and other micro RPGs and scenarios. Whenever I finish an arc in Arcana Core, I make a PDF so people can run that particular mission for themselves, and you can access all that and more on Phantom Arts Entertainment Patreon for the low price of $2. Heck yeah. With that distraction out of the way, Lines and Veils. This is a game where, we are magically powered horrible people who do horrible things to each other in the name of success. However, if there are any particular horrible things that you would rather not encounter in this game, please do let me know. In general, there is no bigotry in the stuff that I run. You're not going to encounter any transphobia, racism, or homophobia in this business. I'm not one for having police violence on camera. And there's obviously not going to be any sexual violence or abuse happening. But are there any other veils, fade to blacks, or absolutely not? It would be good to know before we get started.
I hate losing.
Well, you're going to have a fun time in this game.
When I take the crown, we'll fade to black. Don't worry about it.
Nice, very good.
If I mention a song, then please do not say you dislike it.
Yeah, I fully expect many pop song references from Angelica woven into dialogue naturally as we proceed. I'm not expect, but if that happens, I will quietly or maybe out loud applaud. I'm the sucker for that.
Thank you. But yeah, more seriously, I think Battle covers it pretty well.
Okay, cool, wonderful. I need to make sure that we've got the right music options. I'm playing music directly through OBS rather than in Tabletop Simulator, unfortunately. So do feel free to set your own tunes if you would like to listen to separate jams. I will not be mad at you. But let's go and get some other music going, and then we'll get into it. OBS is telling me that music is playing. Let me just get it in my ears as well. Wonderful. So we find ourselves, the camera hovers over St. Maleficarum, or Devil's Luck City, glittering in the middle of the desert. It is absolutely not Vegas. No way is it Vegas. It's just incredible.
I know what that is.
Not in this universe. As we zoom in, it is about 8 p.m. at night, 9 p.m., and things are hopping. You see the gems of car headlights zipping up and down the main strip of the city, and the camera zooms in further and further, zooming in on one specific place, the Ruby Heart Casino. It goes in through the front doors, through an incredibly elaborate fountain of 3 cherubs throwing poker cards at each other, as it zooms across onto the main floor of the casino. The blackjack tables come especially recommended, but there's a wide variety of entertainment on offer here, as well as an elaborate bar, an expensive restaurant, and a band stage. The camera moves to 3 particular figures on the casino floor in turn, as they enjoy the nightlife, and maybe doing a thing or two to make sure that the odds of the games they play are in their favour. The camera moves first to Angelica. What is Angelica getting up to in the Ruby Heart Casino?
Well, I think she's not performing at this very moment. I think she might have sat down at a poker table or something like that, and not only is she dazzling some of the goers there with her raw star power in picturing very much the toxic music video where you have like really sloppy guy just like point to himself like, huh, me, as Brittany is breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also ordered the table a round of drinks. Little do they know that she's ordered some poison paradises to knock them off their game.
Absolutely. Elsewhere on the floor, what is Trifas up to?
Trifas is at the like comfiest, cushiest couch in the lounge, and she's just like got her hat pulled down mostly over her face, and she's just like munching on a overly sized mushroom that she like occasionally dips in some sort of red sauce.
Who knows what the sauce is? Let's not think about it.
Yeah, she's got a big label on it that says definitely not blood on it.
Yeah, and Archan.
Probably looking at one of the, is it Craps, the dice game?
Mm-hmm.
Am I remember it? Talking, effectively asking the rules. You'll see her looking at the dice, concentrate slightly and throw them into the air, and they just land smack on the table, don't even bounce, like they were just made of solid stone, landing on dubiously accurate numbers for what she needs. Just nod to herself slightly.
Nice. You were out the gate with, well, everybody cheating just a little bit here. It's well known but not discussed that in Devil's Luck City you've got to make your own luck occasionally. So in some of the biggest casinos, and they're definitely for the biggest pots, pretty much everybody's cheating. It's just the nature of not being caught. But with that kind of establishment out of the way, let's go and do our general actual game setup, which I didn't do in advance. First up, everybody gets dealt 5 cards. There is the opportunity to, I believe, recycle your entire hand. I should remember the rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would actually like to do that. I'm none too pleased about my opening hand, and so that means I'll take all these cards, discard them. You can move the discard pile if you want, and then I draw 4. Okay, let's see. I'm red.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does anybody else want to recycle their hand?
Happy with mine.
I think I'm okay with mine.
Like
Fab.
we were taught in Romania, we deal with the hand we are dealt.
Right, once every player has their hand, they each place a card face down. If you can press F over a card in your hand to flip it upside down before removing it from your hand. This card will be setting the tone of the game. So the person who has the highest card gets to decide the tone of the first scene with a single word, and then we'll get into the specific circumstances of what everybody's been playing at. So everybody's got their cards down. Wonderful. Hover your hand over your card, and on the count of 3, we're going to flip it over. In 1, 2, 3, flip. Okay, with an 8 of diamonds, it appears that Angelica is going to be setting the tone of the scene. Oh, that goes into your discard pile, friend. So, just over here. Thank you very much.
And then we all draw a new one. Yeah, let's see. Tone of the opening scene. I'm going to say dangerous.
Very good, very good. All of you have gambled at the Ruby Heart Casino before. It's one of the most famous ones on the Strip. But the reason why you're here today isn't just because it's a wonderful place to hang out, but because this is where the Kairos Game is held. The game where, so you hear, if you win, you're able to earn the luck of the city itself. And you could do all sorts of things with that. You could change your life around. In fact, what would you wish for if you won the Kairos Game, Angelica?
Oh, if I won the Kairos Game, I think immortal stardom would be just good enough.
Nice. Archan, what would you win with? What would you spend the winnings essentially of the Kairos Game on?
That's a good question. Leave for Archan has the something to forever assay the immortal boredom, which she the malaise she suffers. They suffer.
Absolutely. And Trifas, what would you do if you won the Kairos Game?
I would finally make a big enough plot for me to grow the biggest mushroom in the world.
A noble goal. But those who are selected to play the Kairos Game, well, you need to go and grab the attention of the powers that be, and that requires a little bit of craftiness, a bit of show of flair, something magical, maybe. So, we going across those scenes that we established earlier. Angelica, you are this group of people who have all been served a round of drinks by you. What is the play? What are you going to be doing here to kind of show off that you are worthy of participating in the Kairos Game?
I think basically I think the play is basically that in the short term, the drink will make them all very suggestible, and then they will probably all die, but not until the game ends. So I'm going to be collecting my fair share, and then
Okay, excellent. In that case, then I think everybody's kind of is grateful for the drinks that you've gotten everybody, but one person is annoyingly, frustratingly wary. What's in this? It smells a little strange. They are hard to convince, it seems, but I'm sure that you probably have a way to show them how you truly mean no harm with this kind gesture. This is going to
of
be
course.
an easy play with a difficulty of 5. So in Mystic Lilies, it is all about beating a declared value, at least in single-player conflicts. So I, as the GM, set a difficulty, and the player can play a card from their hand, which, as the GM, I can see what cards are in your hand. Is that fine? I should probably not be able to see the cards in your hand. I wonder whether that's fine or not. Interesting.
Oh, I mean, when I GM, I like to see the cards people have in their hands, just so I can see the strings that I can pull on.
Fair enough.
But
yeah. Either works, I suppose. When
Mhm.
we played this the first time, it was over Roll20 where I couldn't see people's hands. So this is an interesting alternate way of playing the game. But yes.
Indeed.
So I set difficulty. In this case, it's going to be 5, and the player who is up against that difficulty plays a card from their hand, adding the relevant stat associated with that suit. There are 4 suits and 4 stats in this game. And each of them has a value between, usually in the ballpark of 0 and 4. So we have this man who is very suspicious of the drink that you've proffered. How are you going to convince them to go and actually take the drink without questioning it?
I'm going to use the stat will, which involves manipulation, courage, and reading people. And I'm going to, I think, just lean forward and just go, "Aw, do you not trust me? Here, I'll take a big sip too, and we'll drink together."
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's just going to completely fake the drink, but is just hoping on dazzling this man with especially those like disco ball implant nodes.
Mm-hmm.
Just working the magic. And I have a will of 2, and because the difficulty you're looking for is 5, I believe I graze.
Yes, indeed. So when you graze, which is exceeding the number by just 1, you succeed with a critical success, meaning that you basically steal the show with your stunt. So what's the outcome that we're gunning for here?
Oh, I think with the crit from this outcome, not only is he convinced, I think he just like immediately liquidates all of his assets and puts them on the table.
Oh, right. Yes. Is kind of like, well, bottoms up. Oh, well,
It's
I must
good,
say that
isn't
gave me
it?
courage. I feel like I can win anything today. I'm going all in.
Angelica gives him a peck on the cheek and then moves back.
Mm-hmm.
And because I grazed, I draw another card.
Fantastic. We then move across to the bar restaurant area with Trifas. Enjoying your mushroom and special sauce combination. What are you thinking about while relaxing and eating? You know, what's going across Malesh's mind today?
I think it's Trifas, well, kind of grazing, haha,
Mhm.
is looking around and kind of imagining the kind of fertilizer she would get out of each of the patrons in the bar and in the casino. Like, if I were to grind them up, they would last me mushroom fertilizer for 3 weeks and stuff like that. So I think she's just like trying to see if she can't make this little extra bonus trip in between her gigs.
In fact, there is one group of rowdy revelers that look like Wolf of Wall Street kind of era style businessmen, and they are obnoxiously loud and drinking shitty beer. And one of them goes, "Way!" and throws his arms up in the air, and the beer from the Steiner that splashes through the air and hits you in the back of the neck.
I drop my mushroom into my bag that is just like a shitty worn leather bag, and throw the like sauce in there without like covering it up in a container with a lid or anything. And I'm just going to like walk over there, but Trifas is like 4'6", so she's very tiny. So it kind of looks like she's just like gliding, and her like robes are way too big, so you can't see her feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like she's kind of just like gliding over to these wolves of fake Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's a fur coat robe. That's so sick.
It's so good.
Similarly, because you are an unusual sight in this particular space, and I think the energy that you just kind of radiate is probably enough to make most hesitate. This is also an easy check. How would you like to either get rid of them or at least kind of punish them for their misdeeds?
I want to like, can I shrink them and put them in my bag?
So that feels like a more difficult thing than an easy roll. So you absolutely can, but I think I'm gonna set the check a little higher
I'm
than
gonna
that.
like camp outside of the men's and wait until he goes in to like probably do fantasy cocaine, and then I want to shrink him and put him in my bag.
Yeah, let's push this up to a normal.
Okay.
So beat a 7 with the card that you play plus the modifier of the suit.
Let me see here.
Remember that the suit that you choose also kind of dictates the approach that you're taking. So you might be using spades and using logic.
Modifiers.
Sorry?
I don't see my modifiers. I don't know if I just missed it when we were doing character creation, but I don't have any.
Basically, between instinct, logic, and will, you assign 0, 4, and 2 to one of those
Gotcha.
each.
That's right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I'm just going to play this card here.
Absolutely. What is the modifier on your spades?
Spades is, I think, my 0.
Okay, so you approach this with some logic and cunning. So the kind of waiting by the bathroom and specifically jumping them, huh? That's going to be the plan.
That's exactly what I want to do. Yes.
Cool. Since it's kind of a logic thing as well, and this is maybe your knowledge of how your magic works, let's get a little bit of a flavor of how your specific brand of magic works.
Okay, I think Trifas can probably like blend in next to one of the like exotic looking plants that kind of adorn the restroom area. So she's so small and she's so just like unassuming and just not pleasant to look at. So she kind of just like slides in next to one of the plants, brings out the half-eaten mushroom covered in red special sauce, and she starts to like whisper sweet magic words of nothing into the mushroom, and that's how her spellcasting works.
I think there is a shot of this guy after taking. There's a long, loud snorting noise off camera, and then we see his head like rise up from the bottom of the frame to look in the bathroom mirror as he kind of like wipes his nose and sees that there's this ominous shadow behind him and starts to turn slightly, and then we get a cut outside of the bathroom and there is a scream, but the band that's playing in the bar restaurant, the trumpet starts a really loud and cool solo and it drowns out the scream so nobody notices.
Amazing.
Meanwhile, on the craps table we have Archan.
So I think it'll probably be somebody annoying her at the table. It's probably going to trigger whatever she does that attracts the attention. I don't know if we've got somebody who's overplaying their hand or generally just being too over flash and sure of themselves.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be a casino full of garbage men today. Yeah, there's you're about to go and take your roll. and make a specific bet. And this dude like leans in, and with just the general energy of grease and pretension, like if he was a Mystic Lilies character, that would be 2 of his 3 aesthetics: grease and pretension. Leans in and goes, "Well, actually, I don't think that's really the bet you should take, little lady."
Ooh. Just shudder.
I've been
Let me sort of-
gambling up and down this strip for years, and I know this game like the back of my hand.
That's because this game is absolutely basic fairy, I shall say. Looking up and actually locking eyes with him, having, from observations from most of the tables, she's generally been avoiding eye contact with anybody. As her eyes are very peculiar to look at, and a sort of slightly reptilian, but an odd sort of quicksilver hint to them.
As a point of note, with Archan's extreme age, the humanity is but a race of fae to them. However, this Lothario takes the pejorative of fairy differently, and goes, "Would you just call me? I'm a man's man," and he like flushes and bristles at his masculinity at all being questioned.
You're barely worth my attention, he'll say. He'll usually start feeling this odd sensation, like a dryness in his own eyes as he's locked contact, as Archan will manifest her powers, which are somewhat akin to the monster that she is, which is that of the basilisk. Which has a relatively famous effect attributed to its gaze. Or whether
Indeed.
I think a slow effect on it, however, that's probably going to make him back away from the table before it fully manifests.
Sure, that feels like another easy roll to me. Roll
Okay.
as if we were rolling dice. Well, you're rolling dice in fiction, but
Absolutely.
so it's a 5.
Oh,
You can roll cards if you try hard and believe in yourself.
absolutely. Does logic work in this particular instance? As it's
Yeah,
would it
if
more
you
be-
can kind of explain how you're being a bit calculating and planning about this, then I can take that. That sounds good.
It was probably more the engaging in conversation just long enough to make sure that he is looking straight into her eyes as she's calling her to manifest, and then the sort of channeling it in such a way that it's not going to be instantaneous.
Absolutely. Go play me a card.
So that with my logic of 2 on top.
We'll make it 5. So you Graze is I misspoke. Graze is matching exactly, not exceeding by 1. Correct?
Right. Well, it's exceeding by the lowest possible value. So when 2 people are opposing each other, then it's
exceeding by 1.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. So yeah, you have this is a critical success. So describe to me exactly what happens to this guy.
So he'll sort of, as I feel, this sort of odd sort of dryness, sort of starting in his eyes, and then sort of look down at his hand and sort of see this grey sort of start appearing across his hand where he's grabbed the hand that he's grabbed the dice from. Sort of start scratching at it in some sort of confusion, and then getting more and more panicked as it slowly starts to spread across the skin and perhaps creeping up his arm. Probably at this point, sort of pull away from the table, hide it under his other arm, and start making his way sort of somewhat panicked away from the table. His steps slowly getting more and more slower as the effect moves up his arm and across his body and slowly locks away. The casino acquires a lovely new statue in the foyer. As it's,
on his way out, he bumps into somebody and tries to tell them that he needs assistance or help. But he finds his tongue heavy in his mouth. It has already turned to stone. And unable to say anything, he stumbles into the street before turning perfectly into a statue. Somebody walks by and, assuming them to be a statue performer, throws some coins on the ground as they walk past dismissively.
Very nice.
With your whether consciously or not, you have become aware of. Sorry, let me rephrase that sentence. Let me start that sentence from the top. Whether consciously or not, you have all proven yourselves as worthy of entering the Kairos game. And before long, simultaneously, like we get a three-way, like picture-in-picture, like the screen splits into thirds as three like table assistants, like waiters essentially, come over with a silver platter, a cocktail, and a note card to each of you. And as you all pick up the card and give it a read, it says, "You have been invited to the VIP floor of this this glittering, glorious establishment, the Ruby Heart Casino, to meet with the croupier." And these three separate waiters all gesture in a way of like, "Follow me," and lead you off the floor. We get like a first person shot. At this point, actually, there is a you all find yourselves led into like a concrete corridor, featureless, no glitz, no glamour, just a hallway and a set of stairs. And as you three turn to face each other and acknowledge each other's presence, the bartenders, who all looked eerily similar to each other, shut the doors behind you with a loud click-clack. I think you all three have met each other before previously, but whether you all were expecting to see each other today is up for discussion.
I
Trifas.
didn't find any more gigs since the last time. Ha ha ha.
Oh no, that's really funny. You know, I gotta say, I didn't expect you to be here. I thought you had more important things to tend to, like I don't know, composting some broccoli or something.
I would much rather be composting broccoli.
Well, no need to stay on my account, please. If you have things to attend to, then by all means, you can leave us.
Unfortunately, I do need to play within the bounds of this Kairos game to grow great mushroom. I must stay.
We'll be probably a bit quiet from Archan. She's watching this little exchange, and then sort of a crossover. We've met before, haven't we, fairies?
We did drugs once, I think. You had mushrooms of mine.
Ah, yes, the peculiar flora. Yes, I do recall that. And you wanted something built, didn't you?
Yeah, and as you two are talking about, just casually talking about having done drugs before, like, or done mushrooms before, I think Angelica's looking at the two of you with, like, bemused incredulity. Yes, you helped me fix some sound staging. So, Trifas, is that it? You're here to pull some Super Mario stuff and just get high off your ass?
I suppose I could play the role of dealer if everybody is interested in that. I have plenty of mushrooms and a new friend to pack along. She like shakes the bag and you hear like you're like
Your tiny screams.
Oh my god.
Oh, you've picked up some party favors.
I figured I would get souvenirs.
I've heard tales of amongst your kind about things that go on at the top of this casino. Apparently required some minor effort to get up here.
Indeed, as you continue to walk down the corridor and then up this flight of stairs, you meet two gilded and kind of like velvet cushioned doors at the very top, set into, again, entirely featureless concrete wall. And you can hear discussion and music coming from the other side of it. There are definitely people up here.
It's not as exclusive as they were making out.
As you
Perhaps I will find another doll friend for my other one that I have in here. Hee hee. My bag is pretty big.
Angelica, like, Trifas, I feel like every time you say something, Angelica's just does not know what to think of you. Just keeps on giving you these like sidelong looks like, what the hell? Like, Angelica's used to using magic to like manipulate and destroy people and whatnot, but you're on some weird shit.
And don't you forget it.
On that thought, I guess Trifas opens the door, and it opens to a what looks like a weird mixture between an exclusive club room, velvet curtains and all that, a single like a blackjack dealer table, but also like a playroom filled with toys. There's a very expensive looking dollhouse. There is a little book nook with a beanbag and a ton of plushies. You look at one of the plushies and you can see that its eyes are made of precious gems. There is two animal-headed bodyguard / assistants that stand on either side of this blackjack dealer table. One, you can tell that these were probably designed to look cute, of being like a plush teddy bear and a plush lion, but no, that's just a bear head and a lion head on top of a bodyguard body.
I'm listening.
And there are 3 other people who are milling around the space with mixture of level of comfort and discomfort, honestly, and a kind of like, how to put it, a scrabbling sound from behind the blackjack table.
Could I add something to the scenery here?
Mm-hmm.
And you can certainly call me out if this is off tone for this area, but I think there might be a jukebox, specifically because I want Angelica to just pull kind of like a Michael Jackson from the Thriller music video and just like long distance QB yeet a coin in there, start playing one of her greatest hits.
Yeah, I think there is a jukebox in here. I've got some jams that the stream can hear that have been playing that I guess are diegetic. And as I don't think you even need to roll for this particular piece of cinematography. The coin flips in there, and the music changes, and the scuffling sounds behind the blackjack table kind of stop, and a kid in the ballpark of maybe 10 pops out from behind him and goes, "Hey, I was listening to that. That's rude."
Well, now you're listening to this.
Mm-hmm. I don't like it. It sounds old.
Oh no, Angelica's genuinely hurt.
Trifas loses her shit.
Archan will look down at the small fairy. The warblings of fairy Angelica are, I hear, very well put for one of her kind.
They rival Mandragoras.
This kid clambers on top of the blackjack table. They are wearing a very expensive like suit, but scaled down. Like, think like Conan from Case Closed kind of vibe. They are wearing a really elaborate masquerade mask in the shape of a butterfly, and the widest shit-eating grin as they look over to Archan, and he's like, "Don't talk to me about fairies, young woman. You're not the only ancient being that exists within this world." Oh, sorry, that was too serious, wasn't it? Oh, goodness me. I'm supposed to be setting the tone here. I'm the croupier. It's nice to meet you all. And they kind of clap in joy and amusement. It seems we're all here. But you might not have all met each other.
Oh, no, I think we're uncomfortably familiar, actually.
I know too many people already, and it's only 2.
Hey, go ahead.
I struggle to remember all your names anyway.
Well,
Angelica was thinking about the fact that the croupier said that the music sounds too old and is also an ancient being, so...
you wonder whether they said that specifically to piss you off or not. Yes, you might all know each other, but you might not know the other guests that we have here today, and the other 3 that were kind of milling around in the space, drinking the cocktails that were offered, the identical ones on, I guess, their own silver platters and note cards that were offered. They kind of turn. One of them is quite mousy looking in the city that everybody is dressed to the nines here to impress, here to dance the night away. She has the distinct air of librarian about her outfit. It is very this lady is perpetually cardigan season. My name is Jennifer Walker. She tries to get her shit together and stiffens up right straight. It's a pleasure to play the game with you all today. I hope it's going to be lucky. I'm going to win.
Oh, I'm sure you are. No need to be so tense, dear. Come on, lighten up. And as Angelica says that, she runs a hand through her hair, flipping it and causing a lot of magic glitter to go shimmering through the air.
I think the shimmer causes almost like her hair to stand up on end, and she takes like a fraction of a step back, like in surprise at the fact that you can summon glitter on command. There is another a tall, thin man leaning on the back wall. This kind of multicolored fog is slowly dripping out of their mouth, although you don't see a vape pen. But actually, Angelica, you definitely know who they are, and the Archan and Trifas might not, depending on how into pop culture they are. This is the famous poker player Fernando Porter. He has been ripping up the gambling, like poker playing circuits worldwide, and is definitely a celebrity in this city.
Archan, I have a question for you.
Do go on, Fairy Trifas.
Is there suit in poker of mushroom?
I don't think they're suits. I think there's just cards.
Then I don't care about this man.
I think, unless the conversation was supposed to be explicitly private, Angelica kind of like slides in and goes, well, I mean, the spade kind of looks like a mushroom.
I think when you slide over, Chief is like, Jesus Christ, and like steps back from you.
Oh, what's the matter? You on edge too?
I don't do well around regurgitated pop music.
Lord. On that note, the third person, who is she's quite solidly built, muscular, in a biker jacket, and is carrying a motorcycle helmet underneath one arm. She has what I like to describe as the surprise lesbian haircut, where it is super long on one side, and you're like, oh, they have long flowing hair, and they turn around, it's an undercut shaved head, surprise. How she manages to fit, well, the half of her hairdo underneath that helmet, you have no idea. But she looks like she's not one to be fucked with, at least within her maybe own circle. I'm Shauna Mullen. Nice to meet yous.
Angelica does the I guess it's a Sailor Moon thing to do the one hand on hip, the other one doing like a sideways piece over your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Archan will look slightly puzzled. Is your hair broken, fairy?
She looks at you and your very clearly not human lizardish eyes and says, "Cute contacts. I don't think your look will do you much good out on the road. After all, this gamble isn't just playing cards or rolling dice. It's a bit more advanced than that. Hope you can keep up with my speed." Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, I get to tell you about the game, don't I? Now that everybody's here. Oh, I'm so excited. I've kept these 3 up here for maybe the last hour and a half while I was waiting for others to be worthy of entering. I'm sure they must be sick to death of the music that I listen to. They all nod. Right, let's go and do the game. Well, I mean, I guess it's almost a game to tell you about the game. And pulls a deck of cards from inside their pocket, jumps back down off the table. This entire time they're having the conversation atop. I guess just to be taller than everybody else in the room, and kind of does a spread of cards expertly. In one hand, just kind of runs the deck in their palm across the surface of the table and does like an even spread perfectly of these cards. Each one of these cards is a different game. The Kairos game is different every time. There are so many delightful games that children like to play, and I like to watch other people playing them and struggle and strive and cry as they try and do their best. I'm going to select one of these cards, and then you're all going to play the game that's written on it. Sound good?
Fine by me.
Audible shrug.
Munch, munch, munch.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't get those performance-enhancing edibles now.
I could win without performance, or I could crush with performance. It doesn't matter.
Gee, tough crowd. Oh well. I'm gonna pick eeny, meeny, miny, this one. And they pull the card from this spread incredibly clumsily. In fact, knocking all the other cards all over the place, and pulls up the card, and you can see scrawled on it in like felt tip pen, like marker pen, hide and seek written on the card. Oh, this one's really good. So we're gonna have a really special guest that's gonna play with us today. I should introduce them to you. Introducing the Seeker, as they do like jazz hands, and this velvet curtain that's kind of like enshrining the space pulls back a little bit to some darkness, and like dry ice rolls out across the floor. I should probably set some tunes for this because this is very silly. Dry ice rolls across the floor, and there's a drum roll from like somewhere, and appearing out of it is just this kind of like a surprisingly hunched over figure. Quite tall, large like trilby hat and pinstripe suit. They look like an old school jazz man, as they kind of shuffle a little bit into the space, and just kind of like a head held down, and they just stand there. Ta-da! The Seeker!
Angelica leans over to Trifas. Are you related?
Oh, no.
Probably a few things down the line, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised.
This is a special creation of mine. After all, it can get so lonely playing certain games. Sometimes I have to make additional players, but I have all of you to play with me now. But this is one of my favorites that I've created. He is amazing at hide and seek.
Archan sniffs slightly. It doesn't smell of fairy.
No, indeed. This is something much, much more interesting. all you need to do is, well, out of the 6 of you, I want one of you to remain unfound by sunrise. My friend here is going to be chasing you across the city far and wide. And then, if you get caught, you're out. But that's okay. All you just need to do is make sure that you're the last one standing by sunrise, and that sounds easy enough, right? Any questions?
Do I get to take it home with me if I win?
Oh, well, we have a wide variety of cuddly toys, and you get the prize of, well, you get the prize of the Kairos Game. The blessing of Devil's Luck City if you win, so don't be greedy.
I wish. Why need mushroom when I see this man? He's beautiful. I might bring him home.
Anything off the table for this game? Any contraband tactics?
As long as there's one person who's unfound by sunrise, I don't really care what you do.
Goody.
Well, if that's what's going to... If nobody has any questions about the rules, shall we get started with the countdown? He's going to count down from 100 and... Oh, well, I should get a head start then. And the tall, thin, poker-playing man, Fernando, starts to sprint towards the door. And the croupier wags a finger and goes, "Oh, no, I didn't say that you could start running yet." And the shambling figure with surprising speed launches across the room and grabs Fernando by the throat. Fingers dig into skin as this man yelps in surprise, as it feels like he's draining away. You can see the color leave his skin. As is his essence being drained? There's something worse. There's a crunch as his windpipe collapses underneath the grip of this man.
Wouldn't have called his bluff.
Okay. Angelica gulps and then goes, "Yeah, Trifas, he does seem like your type."
Makes me feel slightly glad that the game's not that your fairy game of tag.
Jennifer Walker immediately vomits. Just she's
Trifas
not looking
wants
at where
to
to
go.
go. She just stumbles over to the book nook and plushies and upchucks at the sight of watching this man die in front of her eyes.
Trifas is going to bottle some of her puke.
Great.
Jesus.
Such strange creatures.
See, that's what happens if you try to cheat the rules. There are no rules once you're out in the field, but I want this game to be perfectly fair. After all, I want to watch you try your hardest to succeed, and I want to watch you scream in despair as you fail. It's only fair, right?
Well, I suppose it's all part of a good show. I'm not sure how the vomit bottling works into the act, but I'm sure it's all part of a grand finale. Angelica says, trying not to imagine how bottled vomit will be part of the grand finale.
I have use for bottled vomit. I never take thing I don't need.
Well, it seems that you guys are already thinking about how you're going to win. I'll be keeping an eye on you, but for now, let's actually start the countdown. There is a thud in the background as the Seeker just casually tosses the body onto the floor. And you hear in a raspy voice coming from that side of the room, 199.
Yeah, Angelica's gonna book it.
Is there anything you want to kind of do or say in the scene as you all run to somewhere in the city?
Phew. Good question.
I would also like to clip off the poker player's left index finger.
I hope you're writing all this shit down, Marcy.
You know I am.
Good. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. The countdown is a little lower for you. We're not gonna mechanically talk about, the effects of running around while he's counting down, but bear in mind that where you might get to once the Seeker starts chasing is maybe a little closer to the Ruby Heart Casino than the others.
Ooh, actually, while Trifas is doing that, I think Angelica is going to quickly grab Archon by the collar and say, "Hey, real quick, if you ever get in a pinch, use this." And don't put that in your hand; just leave it on the table.
Okay.
She puts what looks like a small disco ball in your hand, and then puts I think guides that into your pocket. I'm activating one of my powers, Heartfelt Fancy. Place a card from your hand face down in the center of the table and draw a new card. Anyone else can use it, but they cannot look at its face before playing it. You cannot use Heartfelt Fancy again until the card is used. So either of you can use this. This is the kind of thing where as soon as you'll need to use it immediately upon drawing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just keep it in your hand. But yeah, if you trust me. And it is in my interest for you to trust me, because I can't use this again until this card gets used.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Archan shall nod and take the globe. We'll then go and stand over Trifas while she's waiting for her to remove the index finger.
After that, I'm just booking it, but yeah, go ahead.
82.
Are you joining me?
81.
You've piqued my interest, also.
I would love to stand by your side until one of us inevitably has to suffocate the other with our own hands.
Perfectly fair approach.
Cool.
Joel, not.
Let's get going.
Okay. Follow.
Yeah. The others have long since fled the building under hearing 99. They decided to not fuck around with dead bodies. Okay, yeah. And with that, I think we're going to kind of cut to some individual scenes of maybe preparations people want to go and make. Places they want to go into the city to start setting up traps and put machinations into motion. Is definitely going to be what the next couple of scenes are. We can do a couple of those. Yeah, we can do those and then go into a break and then to the latter half. So, who would like to go first in terms of where the scene picks up, of where they have run to after the countdown started?
Ooh, I feel a multi-story car park would be quite a good choice. Something made of concrete and rock, where there's lots of cars full of explosive fossil fuels and other sorts of exciting things.
Mm-hmm.
Lead the way.
Interesting. Okay, yes, let's do that. One of the locations in this setting guide that I've written is Route 616, a snarled, winding motorway system surrounding San Malafkaram. Street racers often tear down its roads, but not all of them return. A vast multi-story car park is the city's last bastion before this dark path. I forget what the American term for a multi-story car park is, but you can guess what it is.
Parking garage.
Thank you. It came up before, but I immediately forgot.
That's okay.
Yeah. Okay, we can pick up in this parking garage. Looking
Now
out.
you're a real American. I'm so proud of you.
No, I'm working really hard. I can become an American and then not actually visit the US at all, because that feels like a bad time. Anyway, yeah, I think the car park / parking garage is ominously in shadow. There are many shadowy corners of this particular building, and you can see out in the distance, Route 616, and it starts off pretty normal looking, but there are some astounding twists and turns. Nothing F-Zero-esque, just labyrinthine. This seems to be the easiest way of getting into and out of San Maleficarum. How did people even get here, if they had to drive through that?
I don't remember how I got here. I just know I can't leave.
At least not easily. There is a bus service that travels once every couple days. Whether you can afford the cost to ride it, though, is a different matter. At any rate, since this is the lead, Archon's leading here, how would you like to start the scene? How are you entering the scene?
I think probably just as pretty much through the front door, completely unaware of the point of what you call them, sidewalks and things, expecting the cars to move out of the way for me.
One does
and
not.
then sort of probably getting dragged off the side by Trifas on the. No, that's not going to stop. That's a truck. And then possibly descending into the depths of this parking garage.
Is there a specific goal that you have in mind here? I have something that I can bring up here for this scene, but is there a particular goal you have in mind for hiding out at this location?
Generally just feel comfier in the deeper and darker places. This is probably one of the places that will go the deepest down in the city, I suspect. So I'm assuming it's got like basement tiers and upper tiers as well.
Okay, cool. And Trifas is also here?
Of course.
All right. Wonderful. Yeah. Is there any what kind of conversation is going on between the two of you now that you have, I guess, a moment away from Angelica?
So what you can do with the puke is you can make acid out of it, and with the finger, well, that's for Mama later.
Most curious.
Flushed emoji.
Some things don't change even throughout all the ages. Why carrots always end up in sick, I'll never understand, she'll say.
God.
Love what it is.
There is.
Found a level, have we?
No, I enjoy the fact that this is like extreme body horror and at least 2 of the 3 people involved are entirely unfussed. You hear the roar of a motorcycle echoing in the space. Somewhere.
Of course.
This is a pretty big building, and with the acoustics in it, you can't really tell whether it's from above or below, really.
This girl with awful anti-aliased hair.
Yes, quite possibly.
Oh no, Trifas is a gamer. That explains so much.
Okay, cool. What do you do in response to hearing that there might be somebody else here and you're not alone?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
We have chosen this as our lair. We can't abide interlopers coming here. They should find their own territory.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. The sound gets louder, and you hear lights. Oh, you hear lights. Synesthesia. You see lights coming from around the corner as there is the motorcycle whips round and starts speeding in this particular direction towards the 2 of you.
I hear the lights. I have synesthesia. I know she's coming.
I suppose that probably tracks, considering the amount of psychotropics you take.
See?
Anyway, let's see. I think I want to just for also sake of displaying the mechanics at hand. what do either of you two specifically want to do / get out of the situations at hand? Because if they're at odds, then a multi-way conflict might occur.
Okay, what I want to do is I want to use the throw up as I was talking about. I want to like throw it on the wall and cast a spell on it to like melt away into the earth, a little like tunnel out of the puke.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything particularly Archan wants to do with this figure approaching?
Assuming it's coming very quickly, she's going to crouch down, place a hand on the stone below, and turn a large amount of it some distance where this in front her into a more liquid state.
Okay. Let's go and make that a conflict anyway. Insofar as which one of these spells fires first, and probably fires better, because there is a the winner can have the decision of whether their magic interferes with the other person's attempt. So for conflicts, instead of me setting a target number, you both place a card face down, and then upon me calling 3, 2, 1 reveal, you can choose to flip the card face up, or yield, as it were. Yielding means you automatically lose the combat, but you also get to draw 3 cards. 3 cards. I can count. So you get in Mystic Lilies, you always have the option of losing, but losing actually can benefit you in the long run by giving you more options later on. So with that in mind, please place your card face down.
And keep in mind, and either of you can take this card instead.
Indeedy.
I'll save it for a point where I feel very threatened, but I'll definitely use it, so it can be a good, either sudden yet inevitable betrayal.
Mm-hmm. What are the modifiers on these cards that you've placed down?
Mine is from the suit of diamonds, so we'll be using my power, which is 5, but will decrease by 2 or incur a cost after I've used it.
Mm-hmm. What is your modifier? Trifas.
Spade, logic, 0. Meh.
Interesting. Okay. We reveal or withdraw in 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
I withdraw.
Okay.
Okay.
You get to draw 3 cards. That card is chunked and put into the discard pile, so you still lose it. That's fine.
Yep.
We still reveal what it was, though. Face cards are interesting. Face cards actually can have a bonus against... aces have a bonus against face cards. So,
yeah, I saw that. It's quite a cool mechanic. Can I incur a cost to not diminish my power stat?
Ooh.
Similar. A GM... proportional repercussions of the GM choice that may not be obvious, similar to playing an offsuit.
Okay. I think you guys are not on the ground floor of this car park. You are actually a little higher up, let's say the 2nd floor. This effect goes through in that you turn much of the space around you into almost quicksand instead. You see this motorcycle start to falter and then descend into the ground, and the rider of the motorcycle leap off the motorcycle and go soaring through the air, practiced, like they launched themselves intentionally. Trifas, you fall through the floor. It seems that a lot of this space was turned temporarily into quicksand.
Fuck you, Archan.
Whether that was intentional or not, well, that's up for Trifas to decide whether that was intentional or not. But yes. And the figure from the motorcycle lands in a 3-point landing pretty close to Archan and looks up and goes, "Neat trick."
This is my territory. Out.
There are many people who drive in this city, young one. After all, I respect those who go fast, and I also respect those with power. And it seems that you at least have one of those two. Let's see how fast you go. In games like this, sometimes teaming up is particularly useful. Or say that you and I work together for a while. Since you're here alone and all.
I have no interest in you, child. Go away.
She kind of like puts her hands to the sides and kind of shrugs like oh, come on. Don't be so stuck up. I'm giving you the opportunity to have somebody backing you up. Strength is all well and good, but sometimes people can be really subversive and exploit your strength. And in that case, you want somebody in your corner. But if you'd rather work alone, then I suppose I can't stop you. Ho-hum.
I wasn't working alone. I appear to have lost a fairy. So looking around.
Well, okay then. Since you're not willing to go and take up my offer, she stretches, I suppose it means that you're not going to be looped into my master plan. Too bad. When the chips are down, let's see how fast you are in being able to outrun a doom coming for you, I suppose. Ta-ta. And she makes her exit, clinking biker leathers and metal studs as she leaves the scene. Trifas is nowhere to be found.
I shall probably start heading downwards and try and find where my missing fairy has got to.
One floor below. Trifas, where did you land?
I crushed a Mercedes-Benz.
Hell yeah.
It's probably a motorcycle that's just sort of stuck half in the roof now.
Yeah.
There does
Like
appear
clipping and like freaking the fuck out like in Gary's mod.
Yeah, there does appear to be a motorbike in the ceiling on the floor below. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Angelica, where do you run to?
Angelica is headed to, I believe it is called the Wheel, which is this packed amphitheater with all kinds of fancy performances and super fans of all flavors there. And she's going to try to pull a costume change and blend in with the crowd.
Let's get some tunes for here. This will do. Cool. You're going for a wardrobe change.
Indeed.
I didn't realize. I thought you were based on Britney Spears, not Cher. But okay. Okay. What kind of look are we going for? How elaborate or complicated are we making this happen?
I do love it's such a stupid gag of her going just like picking a random person in there in some very generic clothes, like knocking them out, dragging them into like a bathroom stall, and then coming out wearing not the outfit they were just wearing, a completely different outfit with the like Britney fake snake around her neck.
Oh my gosh.
That is practically too ostentatious, but I think actually there are two ways this plan can go. I think why don't we go with the more ostentatious version of this plan? I think she's actually going to sneak backstage and slip into one of the performance outfits that a previous performer was using, which of course is going to have to involve that big plush snake around her shoulders. And I think she might try to pass as a performer who may be working with Emperor Q.
In fact, it is a Thursday night, and therefore it is Emperor Q night. Emperor Q is a K-pop performer solo act who has performed at the Wheel every Thursday for basically as long as anybody can remember, although they don't look a day over 25. you can actually hear in the background one of Emperor Q's numbers. Bet it all on the line, as there are fans, dedicated fans, screaming their lungs out.
The fan cams are flying fast and furious.
Oh man, absolutely. There is like an LCD like screen behind the stage, and part of the segment every week is playing some of the biggest like fan videos, fan art, and fan cams that Emperor Q has received over that week. It is a blessing unto a god to have your fan media played at an Emperor Q concert. You wonder, you know, you're famous, internationally famous. And multiple continents are aware of your work and you chart regularly, but you have never heard anybody scream your name like how they scream his.
There's a desperate bloodthirst in the way people scream for Emperor Q.
There are many reasons why people want to get in the circle of Emperor Q, whether it is avarice, lust, or something else. It just causes them all to be very, very desperate. At any rate, after a while, how are you hanging around for the performance?
My main plan is slipping backstage, getting that costume change on, and then in between when Q is on stage, trying to actually parlay with Q to try to pass me off as a backup dancer or something like that.
Absolutely. The wardrobe change goes without incident. You don't need to play for that. That's simple enough. And you performed here enough times where they know you, so getting backstage isn't really hard. The intermission kicks in, and there is an opportunity for Emperor Q to walk backstage. There are already 3 separate people with ice-cold water bottles, to which he grabs all 3, drinks one and dunks the other 2 over himself, and he glistens. As he goes into the green room, to which I think you're probably already there. Oh, yeah, it's you. How's it going? Dagger, darling!
Oh, Q, now is such a good time to see you. Nice performance, by the way.
I mean, I bring it to them every time. You'd think it'd get old, but I certainly don't.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. You won the Kairos game before, yeah?
Oh! Are you actually entering this year? Oh, congratulations! I hope you don't die horribly.
Angelica shrugs and says, I'm not that innocent.
Yeah, well, when it comes down to it, you'll see how well you do when it actually comes to taking someone else's life. He does not seem to be aware that you poison people on the regs in the name of winning games.
Yeah, I do love the idea that canonically Angelica has done far worse for far lower stakes.
You are unfazed by the horror in a different way to the other 2.
But listen, hey, you know, we're old friends, we go way back, and I was hoping you could help me out in a small way, and I could help you out too.
What you talking about, baby? We got a deal? Striking up a deal in the intermission is, well, I've signed a handful of book deals and a drama CD in my intermissions before, so this should be a piece of cake.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So here's the skinny. I mean, basically, I've got a big bad goon who's... We're doing the hide and seek thing. You know, you've probably heard of that one before. Big bad goon's gonna try and sniff us out and then suck us dry. And I'm thinking, instead of crawling into a hole and waiting for him to go away, I'm gonna hide in plain sight. And I want to be your backup dancer. Not as Angelica Dagger, of course, but as... And she takes the snake and wraps it very specifically to hide the like disco nodes, but as Serpentina.
Ooh. I like that, Serpentina. What an absolutely fiendish idea. You do have a cunning look in your eyes every time I see you. Of course you'd come up with such a fabulous plan. Of course. You wonder in your back of the head what the heck a drama CD is and how somebody could be signed up to be involved in one of those. But now is not the time. Let's see. I think he's into it, actually. This is also similarly... do you want to roll for this one? There is a role that I would like you to make, but it might not necessarily be winning him over. But if you would like to do an additional roll for the opportunity for the shits and giggles, we can make that happen.
I'm fine with not playing a card for Q.
He's like, well, if you do win, we can strike a deal about splitting it 50-50, right? And he smiles widely.
I think Angelica winks and says, "Oh, I think we'll be working pretty closely in the near future and far future if this works out."
It's nice to have such glittering colleagues. And the intermission ends, and they make their way back onto... He makes his way back onto stage again with you, and a handful of other backup dancers. You are maybe the only one draped in a snake, and that stands out, but it's fine. At the very least, there was an even number, so you get to at least stand in the middle of them and look like it's intentional. And it's like, well, we have our backup dancers animal themed for this new number, Concrete Jungle. Hit it, and the song starts and goes quite well. At the back of the amphitheater, you see a tall figure, and the figure starts to walk just towards the stage, and this area is pretty packed. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to a kind of really popular concert where if somebody tries to work their way to the front, it's actually like it's quite difficult.
It's a real effort, yeah.
But this guy seems to be having not much trouble at all. And as they get closer, you can see that they're wearing a trilby hat. Like they just knew you were here.
It's fine. This is fine. We're just not going to break disguise yet. Maybe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe they're just a fan.
They hit the kind of like metal fencing that the security guards stand on the other side of in front of the stage, and one of the security guards puts a hand out to be like no, and this figure then reaches out to them, and there's a loud, even over the sound of the music, you can hear this, a loud hacking cough as the guy falls over and the figure starts to clamber onto the stage mid-performance. Emperor Q looks surprised and confused.
Okay, so this plan is actually falling apart pretty rapidly, come to think of it.
It seems that the Seeker supernaturally knows where people are.
Honestly, fair. Okay. I think, given that,
I guess this is going to be the role to escape this particular scenario, or at least work out how you can dodge getting a hand through your sternum. This is going to be harder. This is going to be in the ballpark of 9.
Okay. So I think with, let's see, am I trying to hit 9 or exceed 9?
Oh, this is exceed 9.
Okay, yeah, can do. Okay, so I think with that, oh yeah, I actually really like this. I think Angelica sees the trilby coming up, and she has been taking a look at the stage and how it's set up just in the event that cousin It over here comes shambling on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Angelica takes the snake, whips it off, and I think this is like during like the bridge of the song or something.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, I'm playing this. So that plus my logic of 4 is 13.
Ooh, you
Um,
handily exceed. How are you using your
and
logic here? Go for it.
I had done some planning ahead. I'm just going to take the snake and I'm going to use it to whip some of these stage lights to cause them to burst and blind the yes, cause the crowd to pog and blind the shambler, buying myself enough time to backflip off stage and then actually just run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is the plan goes exactly as you say. There is a shower of sparks as one of the lights is like wrenched to go and aim at the seeker directly, as some others surge and explode, showering the stage in shards of glass and sparks.
And that's not my final trick.
Mm.
You know, I am an emissary of light. And one of the things that lets me do, well, first I should say, as an emissary, I have a nature, which is a natural, tangible, or relatively tangible element that I control. And mine is light, being the glitter fiend that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I think with this burst of light, it's fair to say that I have certainly made a show of spreading it,
Mm-hmm.
which would raise my nature 4, which would allow me, and the second part of this is that emissaries can spend 2 nature to draw from the discard pile.
Oh.
So I'd like to do that twice to get my card back.
Oh.
And the next card.
Oh. Well,
Sound
look
code.
at you. Look at you interacting with the mechanics that you wrote. No, that's entirely fine. Cool.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. You run out the back of the stage area and into the city streets and in an alleyway. And for a moment, how do you feel about the fact that you had this quite elaborate plan that you set up, and it was immediately rendered inert by the nature of this game? This is definitely going to be harder than you thought.
You know, I think there's a part of Angelica that feels a little disappointed. But I think there's also a part of her that is a little thrilled that this is going to be more of a challenge. You know, she's had a lot of easy wins recently. You know, whether that's poisoning Wall Street Wolves or putting on shows for adoring fans. She hasn't really had to. She hasn't really had to stretch herself in a while, and I think she's been looking forward to this, and it's almost a relief that it's actually delivering.
Nice. You feel a tug on your sleeve. Excuse me. It seems to be one of the contestants from before.
Oh, you're the vomiting librarian, aren't you?
She pulls a face. I'm sorry.
What is it? Fast. Speak.
So I practice magic a little bit too. I'm not super good, but I've been practicing, and it's mostly barrier magic. And I had a plan. What if we make a barrier and everyone else is on the inside and we're on the outside, and then we don't die?
That's an awfully big barrier for a little girl like you.
She actually her face kind of like seriouses for a small period of time. This is my opportunity to start again, and I am not going to fail here, and I need your help to make this work, or I can do it without you and you can be inside the barrier. Going
Fine.
once. Ah. Excellent. Oh, I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Here. And Angelica, yeah, I think she goes from being rather demeaning and sneering to just being like suddenly turning the stage glitz on, and from mysterious no space pulls out a cover, or pulls out a sleeved copy of her latest CD, pre-signed.
Uh, her eyes like glaze over, but smiles. Thank you. I was looking forward to listening to your most recent album.
Oh, I
Troops
know.
doesn't know why, but she groans.
And
So, do you need me to do anything aside from leave you alive? Or...
well, here is the plan that I had in mind. And with that, we're going to go into a 5-minute break.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you for
Cliffhanger.
tuning in for everybody so far. We will be back summarily. I just need to hydrate. And we'll be back with more shenanigans on Mystic Lilies, the Kairos Game. Welcome back, everybody, to the Neoncaster Twitch channel for this session of Mystic Lilies, the Kairos Game. Instead of me box texting what happened last time, let me go around the table and ask what all of y'all did in the first half of this session. Trifas, what did you do in the first half of this session?
I fell down a hole caused by the person who I'm going to strangle that I'm currently working with.
You also have a
Before-
tiny man in your bag.
Before that, I gathered a tiny man, barf, and an index finger.
I am looking forward to and also dreading to see what you're actually going to do with all of those things.
I would just like to say the way you phrased that at first made it sound like the tiny man's name was Barf.
A tiny white man named him Barf.
His name was Bartholomew before he was turned into it. Yeah, there we go. We
His
squared
father's
that
name was
circle.
Homer.
Angelica, what did you do? What did you get up to?
Oh, just everyday pop star stuff. I poisoned an entire table of old men in order to steal their money. It's fine. It was blackjack. That's how you play. And I got wrapped up in this really colorful little death game of hide and seek. I tried to just blend in with the crowd of, backup dancers, but it turns out that old Stinky chasing after us has a bit of a sixth sense, as it were. So I had to pull a quick trick with some blinding lights and make it slip before I ran into a nervous librarian who bargained with me that she would be encasing the contestants in a barrier dome, letting them die together. And it's fine. I'm sure I can take her.
And Archan, what did you do in the first part of the session?
I found myself getting bored by the machinations of fairies and some creature which downs that it's another immortal. Although, given its attitude, I suspect it's actually quite young. It's probably hasn't seen a star burn out just yet. Oh, and there was some girl with a mechanical beast and broken hair who tried to hold me in conversation, but can't remember anymore. Wasn't important.
Remained uninterested. Absolutely. Okay, we're going to get into the next scene. This is now firmly into Act 2 of 3. This is the point where you can kind of lay these plans, maybe clash against each other as you try to execute your plans better or faster than anybody else before it gets closer and closer to dawn, where there can only be one winner. All right. So where would we like to start that arc off? Who has a scene in mind?
I just went, so I'll let one of you two take it.
I leave it to Archan. Let's see what you do up there.
Okay.
Because I think it's just gonna end up meeting us back up together anyway. So
Where you
Yeah.
at?
We claimed our fortress of the multi-story car park, so we spend a bit of time shooing anybody else out who doesn't belong here. So I think what we'll probably be doing is, assuming once we're meeting up, is maybe trying to ascertain an escape route if this place does get found.
Well, about that, I suppose. You, the nature of Archan's magic is in geomancy. And so an area like this filled with concrete is actually advantageous to your nature. But it seems like this could be pretty serious. After all, only one can remain alive at the end of this game. And as casual as you are about your continued existence, maybe thinking about defenses isn't the worst idea. What do you do to kind of set things up for yourself?
I think what we'll be looking to do is potentially have a way of enacting a spell to effectively seal off the entirety of the compound itself. So I don't know if Trifas wants to join in with potentially traps just outside or in the sort of peripheries of the bit that we're not going to be sealing off. I don't know if that's something you'd be capable of, Fairy Trifas.
whatever I can do to help, I will do. I just not ready to die. Well, turn into mushroom. I won't really die.
Okay. Let's get some card playing for this magic, shall we? I think, depending on what you want to kind of do in terms of using your geomancy here, it's probably going to be either a normal or a hard, depending on how intense these defenses you're setting up are going to be. So tell me a tale.
That's a good one. So I think what it'll probably be is let's be honest, warping the entirety of the. I've got like blast shutters slamming down in my head, but I suspect it'd be made sort of more out of the concrete and some of the other materials like the metallurgy of the cars and things. But only if we see something approaching. I will have a say to Trifas. Very, although only one of us is allowed to win this game. If it does just come down to the two of us, I will take the fight and attempt to murder this young god's creation. If it comes down to us two.
That sounds excellent. Whatever I can do to participate, I would love to do.
Okay, so just in terms of like automatic shutters and kind of that kind of thing, doesn't sound as complicated as, you know, setting up an entire battlement around the car park. So give me a normal difficulty check, which would be 7.
I'm going to. Oh no, we're saving the magical card for when it could screw me over.
Remember, you can always choose to fail and draw 3 cards.
Yeah, I think there's probably something very fundamental in her that doesn't like the idea of just hiding from something, which she's going to regard as a lesser creature. So I think I might actually elect to fail this one. Do I discard?
No, that's only for opposed conflicts, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So under this particular instance, you do attempt. I think the way that this goes is that you kind of think about the like automatic shutters and trying to close doors as people approach. And from one of the higher tiers of the car park, you look out at the strip. And you see a shuffling figure in a pinstripe trilby make their way over towards the car park. And you're like,
going to have time. Okay, so do I just draw 2? Was that
3?
Okay.
And now you can, now I can talk about how you fail. It gets to one of the shutters, and the shutter, as you've designed, slams down, much thicker iron, almost like a vault bank door, downwards, with a hefty thum, which you hear reverberate through the building, and you feel quite pleased with yourself. And then you hear on the other side the sound of, like, cracking concrete. Trifas, you look out down the side of the building, and you can see, step by step, the figure plunge their hand into the concrete and use it as a handhold, reaching up, plowing the other hand in, and they are slowly climbing the side of the building like that barrier meant absolutely nothing to them.
I want to cast a spell.
Interesting. Oh, there's a bit of stack from everyone now. It's mine. Okay. Would one of you mind very briefly checking the stream just to make sure what the audio is sounding like as we proceed? But yeah, go ahead, Marcy. Oh, it was okay. It was just a viewer. It's all good. I always get heart attacks about about audio stuff, but thank you for letting me know. I genuinely appreciate it. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you, Marcy.
I want to take the finger of the poker player, the barf of the librarian, and Bartholomew, the small man, and I would like to put them all inside of hollowed out mushroom cap, and I want to grind them up, mortar and pestle style, and I want to pour the liquid down onto the side of the building and try to like make it sticky to ensnare the Trilby boy.
This sounds like shenanigans, and I'm into it. However, it being shenanigans makes it also sound like it's complicated. I think this
I'm
is
not trying to hurt my future boyfriend.
Just ensnare. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I think this is a difficulty. It's a difficulty 8 on the cusp of being hard, but it's still tricky. So you have to beat an 8, please.
I will beat 8. Don't you worry about that.
Remember the modifiers that you have to your suit as well, even if your cards might not necessarily clear it. Okay, cool. What
Crush 8. It's plus 4 on will.
Oh, wow. Describe how you're kind of using your will, your manipulation and stuff to make this magic happen.
I'm using my courage and my manipulation to believe in the power of psychedelics and believe that the fact that the shrunken man was a terrible person and he would have been terrible in bed, so I didn't take him for a boyfriend. And so I mashed him up and made him have purpose better than his own body could ever have. And then I just say, get sticky with it, as I kind of pour the awful mixture over the side of the parking garage and hope that works.
Cool. I mean, believing in your own fiction is the other campaign that we run here, but
it works for me too.
I'm kidding. Yes, that's
I'm
cool.
going to get transferred over to that campaign after the win.
It's
that's my wish. I don't want to die.
Oh boy. Parallel universes all converging. Absolutely. Okay. So we get, I think, a discretion shot of you grinding this mixture into a paste, because one of them is essentially a live figure, even if it's in nature. As you pour this over the side of the building against the concrete. And what happens? Does it like change the nature of the concrete itself? Do things grow out of the concrete?
Being right, so I want it to be like it's obviously in a very small like mushroom cap, like so it shouldn't be a lot of liquid. But whenever I pour it over, I want it to like flow, kind of like that scene from Fellowship in with all like the water horses, with Eowyn or Arwen.
Either way, the elf
Somebody.
girl.
Yep.
One of the Wynn girls that Tolkien kind of ran out of creativity on the naming. And I wanted to like flow down the side of the car park and just kind of like, stick it, just like getting covered in like molasses, basically.
Yeah. As this figure continues to grind their way hand by hand up the side of the building, they then plunge a hand into the surface, and as they try to pull it back out again, it like stretches like elastic, like this weird viscous green black goo. And it definitely halts their progress for now, but this is definitely not a permanent fix. And given enough
He is
time,
slow.
yeah,
We must abandon our castle. I know we fought hard for it, and by that we insulted the biker, but we must get moving.
I will attest to your plans there, Fairy. We shall move on at speed.
Do you think that you can possibly move our earth underneath our feet to make us move faster? Perhaps we stand on a slab and you can kind of like propel it forward so we can move quickly through the city.
That feels like an easy play if you want to cast a spell to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm game for that. That's more for a bit of earth bending when it's
That's earth bending tough.
So I hear it called. Right. So what's that going
That's
to be?
beating a 5.
Okay. I think that's going to be will because it's putting my power
Well,
over
it's in a
the.
different part of the city, don't worry about it.
I know. It was also a big thing to use their card, but no, I'll not yet. We'll save that. We'll have a 5 down for that and no bonus. So we'll whiz across the city at speed.
Okay.
Rock skating.
Will really wants us to use the card.
I think you could enjoy it. That's all I'm saying. It's just a little party treat.
I actually have forgotten what the card is. How do I like see what it is without revealing it to the table again?
Good question.
Alt and shift.
Alt and
I
shift.
believe.
Oh, okay. Sure. Noted. Right. With that in mind, I think the scene passes on Angelica, or should I say Serpentina, if you're still maintaining the disguise.
Serpentina, if you're nasty.
And we do be nasty, though. Yeah. Where is the scene picking up with you?
That's a good question. Let's see. I think that's pretty contingent on whatever the plan was between her and Barfarella.
Well, if depending on how much improv you would like to do, considering you know what the end game of this plan is, I'm happy to let you improvise what the steps are, and that will be true. But if you would like me to kind of say to you what the steps could be, I'm happy to do it that way too. Up to you.
Let's see. Why don't we go back and forth on this? I think the first step is going to be probably getting motorcycles so that we can drive the perimeter of the barrier.
Yeah, that's the step 1. Then step 2 is that we need to go and get a large amount of salt that we trail behind our motorcycles so we can complete the circle.
You're looking for an awful lot of salt there. Where do you think you're going to get all this salt?
League of Legends tournament. Sorry.
Evo's not playing here for another 8 months, dear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do play in not Vegas, huh?
Not Vegas.
Yep.
No, there is unfortunately a lack of gamer salt at the moment. But depending, you do happen to know somebody who has a solid understanding and mastery of earth magic, maybe creating an infinite source of rock salt would be feasible that way.
Listen, I do know somebody who can probably dig us up a salt mine, but I'm sure I can. They're pleasant. They're the more sensible of the two of them, at least. So, sure, I'll just have to dig around and find them, I suppose. You want to come with?
Yeah, your friends are a little intimidating, so I think I might be taking a step back a little bit. But I'll be around. I'll be around. And almost as if the mediocrity of her increases tenfold, 100-fold, and it's almost as if she was never there.
Disappeared into a storm of mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you didn't have to call me out like that while I'm reading.
The scene changes a little bit. We are in the kind of like main entertainment area of the kind of like outdoor entertainment area of San Maleficarum. There are a lot of kind of like outdoor food vendors. There are variety street performers and street magicians. People who don't actually have magic but still claim themselves to be magicians. Heretical, honestly, if you ask. Well, any magic user that does actually visit San Maleficarum. But it's pretty bustling. In the distance we hear, I think, the sound of rapid crackling gravel is, I think, probably the sound effect design of this hyper earth movement tech that Archan has, as they kind of like enter into the scene, among this throng of people. Maybe because this area is busy, you'll find a way to kind of hide yourself.
I presume we have to stop like every twat who skis ever and a sort of sideways thing, spraying snow. In this case, gravel into the crowd of people.
You slide up to the valet parking. Go ahead and park it for me, buddy.
All across the sides of the cars.
Yeah, thrashed. There is a degree to which causing too much of a magical ruckus is a problem. There are a lot of mundane people that exist within this city, and, you know, if it stops being safe for magic users, they might just all up and move somewhere else. And that'd be boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the small ways of highlighting how you're a garbage person to others is a small pleasure of yours.
It's a pastime.
Mm-hmm.
The more I'm thinking about this, very Trifas, the more I feel that playing this creature's game is more akin to losing in the grand scheme of it. I think we need to find a way of killing the entity that's chasing us.
No, not that hunk.
Subduing the... perhaps I could just... removing its arms and legs, so it's more...
agreeable.
How very carry.
It's just like, or misery, possibly.
Oh, yes, there we go. Wrong book. I'm smart. But, yeah. Okay, so we've got a disabling method of the seeker in mind. Cool. There are two. I'll leave it up to Angelica as to whether you want to coincidentally arrive in the scene at any point. But there is actually somebody among the market stalls, Archan, that you recognize. Or maybe it's a distant memory from your own or from somebody else. But there is a relatively old man. Well, relatively old. They're in their early 60s, maybe. Scraggly hair, neat beard. Large, round glasses that reflect the myriad lights of San Maleficarum, looking among the stalls, carrying a meat skewer in hand. Despite such a relaxed space, there is an intense air of loneliness that emanates from this person. You recognize them as Arthur Horsek, who was a research scientist involved in the Basilisk project. They also coincidentally appear to be the father of the body you now reside in.
This might actually be interesting. So, with a slight, not a smile, but almost a twitch of emotion, probably the first time. Whether it's hers or not, unsure.
You've met them once, and that was roughly around the time you started inhabiting this new look of yours. And then you didn't necessarily deign to interact with the Basilisk project after the fact. In fact, no, in terms of details about what that project even is, you only really recall the name. The rest of it is pointless minutiae. But you weren't necessarily expecting to see a member of that organisation again.
No. Is he particularly noticed us at this point? Or?
Oh, he's enjoying a meat skewer.
I see. Right, so yeah, I'd probably just wander over. Somewhat curious. Did not expect to see you around here.
He
Thinks for a name, hesitates, and just adds fairy as the usual.
He is mid-chew of meat skewer, and he his eyes widen as he turns round and gets a look at you, and then through muffled pork meatball in his mouth goes, Emily? No, it's not her. It's you. I thought you might have died out in the deserts.
This body there seems to possess at least a level of hardiness.
Well, things have moved on. I've moved on. I moved on from everything, including seeing my daughter turn into... He trails off and then looks at you with deep coldness in his eyes. We've learned new things about magic since I saw you last.
I'm sure you have, Fairy.
He takes a step back and his hand goes inside his jacket pocket.
I'm sure we'll see what he does.
Oh,
Curious
okay,
more
cool.
than anything else.
All right. Yeah, he pulls out what looks like a small instrument of some kind, a flute, a whistle, an ocarina. It's made of, I think maybe crystal or something similarly sturdy yet delicate. And he begins to kind of like blow on it, and it doesn't seem to produce a sound so much as a visible ripple, and you feel awful. In fact, there are a handful of people in the space who buckle over as if nauseous, but the majority of the people in the space continue on as if nothing was going on at all. It seems like this is like an anti-magical item of some kind.
Okay. So, should I particularly need to rely on magic? With sort of weirdly animalistic speed, I shall grab something from the. I say it was a food stand, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think a meat skewer is probably quite appropriate, really, isn't it?
Okay.
I will attempt to stop him making this annoying sound,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat pointedly.
Yeah. Okay. Simultaneously, is there anybody else in this scene right now?
I'm vaguely around gathering more puke.
Indeed. This ripple of sound passes through you, and you are used to instilling nausea in other people. Feeling nausea yourself is not on the menu normally. It sucks a lot.
For the first time ever, she throws up and is unable to bottle it.
Yeah. This is violently unpleasant. It feels like everything that makes you, the power that you're so confident in that you have used daily as long as you can remember, is blurry, ebbing away, broken. It's hard to describe.
I'm going to work in office now. Yeah, she's in pain. I don't really know what else I can really do other than just kind of like grin and bear it.
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh,
Just in case you wanted to kind of like, I must find what that source is and
No,
cry.
I think that she's actually like, yeah, I think she's really just hurting.
Okay.
Kind
Absolutely.
of like this magic is all of her identity. Like, I think taking that away from her would she's just hurting. She's usually not on the other end of pain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Angelica, are you around?
Indeed. I'm willing to arrive. I think at about this point, rolling up on into the scene, being like, "All right, gotta talk with the weird snake one that calls everyone fairy, like they're at a Renaissance fair." And oh my god, what is this noise?
As somebody whose magic is around light and sound, I think you probably actually do perceive this as noise, which is awful in an entirely unique way to the other two. The visible ripples that you can see, because they're visible, do seem to have an epicenter.
I think, and there's a part of Angelica that's like, maybe they're not here right now, and I need to go. Oh, I know that's not the case. Fine. And Angelica is going to try to just power on forward to try to stop whatever the hell is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you witness Archan in the opening frames of this this super that they are preparing. So I basically, if you want to do something that might go against what Archan's trying to plan here, this will be a contest. Otherwise,
Well,
it'll be a straight draw.
Could you remind me what the effects of this are going to be?
So if nothing changes, this anti-magic musical instrument will continue to make it incredibly unpleasant for everybody. See, with the intent of it trying to neutralize Archan, but it seems that there are multiple magic users in the area, whether he was cognizant of that or not. I don't know where Archan intends to put the meat skewer upon grabbing it.
I think pointy end goes in Guy. If anything about stabbing implements I've known in the past.
Disabling or a kill shot, I think, is the more important question here.
We'll go for shoulder, I think.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm not going to stop that.
Okay.
So this be instinct, as it's like a sort of feral sort of.
That makes sense. I'm also going to set the difficulty at 10. It sucks.
Okay. If I play a card that's not on suit, does that have
a partial success? So you can still clear it, even if it doesn't make sense for the suit you're trying to use.
Okay.
But there may be unintended side effects.
Go on, it's time for the card. I feel. Let's see what has been put for me.
All right, flip it.
Oh,
7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. That's actually very good because that's on suit. And wow, turns out that
you should have trusted me all along.
Yeah. Well done,
cards.
Fairy Angelica. So that'll be an 11.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. So yeah, you clear it. You describe the process. I guess you ram the meat skewer into the shoulder in a really swift movement.
In fact, given those probably a little bit of additional, almost with this lean grab thing, and just throw it at very close range, and it'll go through his shoulder, probably like slamming him into the side of the stand that he's into, going to potentially drop the flute, which I'm guessing will probably crack or shatter on the floor.
Yeah, you whip it through. You whip the skewer at short range, and there's a noise as it goes in and out his shoulder on the other side and jams into, I think, a palm tree that's in the plaza as he yells in pain and falls to his knees. The instrument skittering across the concrete, which I think Angelica sees.
Oh God! Glad that that's over. What kind of instrument is this?
As I say, a weird amalgam of maybe a flute, a whistle, or an ocarina, made
right.
of some crystalline material. If it's actually crystal or gem or glass, it's hard to tell.
Well, if you said it went in front of Angelica's sight, I think she's actually going to try to go over and pocket it, just in case.
Okay.
You know, so if some of us can collect puking funny little men, then I think it's fair game for Angelica to pocket this equally nauseating device.
Sure.
It'd be so reasonable, Will.
Archon, do you let her do that?
I will not be opposing this. Archan will be turning to the old man and say, although I do not feel regret for what happened to your daughter, rest assured I will remember her name. And even after you are long gone and this rock is a dead and barren place in the void, I will continue and her name shall be remembered.
His
And just
eyes
walk away.
are full of tears as he tries to say, he kind of grits those teeth. It's like, give her back. I just want her back. And then he kind of like keels over onto the concrete.
Wish I was playing more of a witty character. It's like, no, but she fits so well. Fortunately not. Too off character, I feel.
But she fits so well. There, I got it for you.
Asshole Squad represent.
Yeah, and Angelica comes and like casually hangs on the side on the side of your character's shoulder and says, "I'm sorry, the old Robin can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, 'cause she's dead."
Oh, yeah, he's inconsolable. I think. Does anything else kind of proceed in this scene? I suppose. Well, you still have somebody to talk to about a whole fuck ton of salt.
Yeah. Hey, Archon buddy, listen.
Yes.
There's a lot going on right now, and I was hoping you could maybe help me out, but we could make this mutually beneficial.
You've already assisted me, Fairy Angelica, with your gift at the start of this event. What is it that you require?
No, I'm glad you remembered. I could use salt, but like a lot of salt. A lot of salt. If you could just give me maybe a magic rock that just keeps on pouring salt out of the top indefinitely, or it doesn't have to be something cuckoo bananas, you know, just I just need a lot of salt.
Do you think it's as easy as finding a rock that continues to pour salt, Angelica? Goodness, that machine must have affected you harder than you realize.
I have faith in my good friend Archon over here.
Archon's good, yes, but come on, a rock that just pours salt.
It was an example. Listen, if I need a mushroom that continuously repels the presence of anyone else in range, I'll go to you.
I do have
But
it.
Okay, I'll think for a second. Salt is something that I can procure relatively easily. We'll probably need somewhere a little bit more open, though. Too many people around here for the space.
Then
She'll just start wandering off without much of other word towards a clearer area.
Yeah. There is the sound of a motorcycle as you see on the strip just off the plaza area that you're in, a motorcycle rip down the road, flip in the air, and the motorcyclist carrying it flip kicks off it into somebody in pursuit. The motorcycle collides with a tall man in a pinstripe trilby hat. The motorcycle explodes, and everybody is obviously distracted by such a loud sound and explosion. Meanwhile, the Boker flipping through the air creates another motorcycle from nothing, lands, and continues to peel away.
Motorcycle Marcy.
that's a pretty good bit. I like that
Explains why
bit.
she's a terrible driver. She can just make new ones.
It seems that the Seeker is in this neck of the woods once again.
Listen, maybe we can make this fast before we have to start procuring infinite motorcycles.
Yes, that's. We shall sort of sit down, cross-legged, and attempt to draw. Obviously, Archan, having absolutely no idea what Angelica wants this for, is just going to create a massive fucking sand dune of salt. Or salt dune of salt.
I think we move scene since you're moving away to somewhere remote. There is a specific place in the city that is actually quite remote. The Hopeful Leap. The summit of a hill looking over San Malafakaran. The sunset here is reported as transcendental on tourism websites. There are fences and nets to stop people from falling off, but they're in ill repair. So we cut scene to the sound of wind picks up as the camera looks to the sky from this plaza and looks back down again, and we see a more distant shot of San Malafakaran atop this windswept, what would be in better weather, a wonderful park, like picnic location. But currently, with it being in the middle of the night and the wind maybe slightly higher than normal, feels a bit desolate and liminal. It is, however, a large area of Earth and unbothered by too many people.
Okay. Well, she'll presumably start conjuring salt. I'll sit quietly while the others two can happily trade their insults.
I actually didn't come with you all. I went somewhere else.
So tough.
Okay, wonderful.
Oh.
Angelica, while Archan, I don't think this necessarily needs to be a roll unless things get spicy. But you look at the space, and a stray thought, or is it an intrusive thought, crosses through your mind of if you pushed Archan off this cliff, would it kill her?
I mean, that a tiny devil and angel pop up on Angelica's shoulder. The angel says, "Well, listen, if Archon can manipulate Earth, they can probably just like bring up a big old sand dune to stop themselves." And the devil says, "Yeah, but it'd be fun to find out, wouldn't it?"
I love how the angel isn't like "don't kill." It's just
No, absolutely not. Yeah, the halo falls off, and it's just a devil with smaller horns.
and nerd glasses.
Well, actually, she would just survive the fall. Yeah. I think if nothing kicks off here, Salt Dune does manifest. Unless I guess now the concern, at least as far as Angelica and your bookish ally Jennifer Walker is concerned, is how to go and make this salt work with whatever motorcycles Jennifer procures.
Do I know where she is?
She likes to keep a low profile.
Oh, how useful. What a great trait to have in a teammate.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm.
I think at this point, there's the dune of salt is manifested.
Which will nod to Angelica and then just start walking off with
Shit. Okay. Yes.
but not sort of probably easy to stop, or what? So it's just like sort of, okay, I've done what you have asked, and I shall now wander off, kind of manner.
Archan, thank you, but I actually have one more thing I'd like to discuss with you.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So you've been spending time with Trifas.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know what kind of a liability they are.
She has it sort of Archan will look a little bit confused and sort of she's much like the rest of your race, a little bit different, but that was at least enough to separate her apart as you're able to do yourself.
She's going to tear you apart the moment you turn your back on her. The only reason she hasn't so far is because you're useful to her.
She'll her machinations don't really concern me too much. She'll give you this sort of odd blank stare, which isn't making your eye contact, but it's probably like looking at a shoulder somewhat deliberately.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of betrayal just seems a bit odd to the creature.
Well, let me put it this way. I'd like you to make sure she doesn't get a chance to betray either of us. And if you do, I think you'll quite enjoy what happens. As I'm activating Desire Drive,
Ooh.
a power that I have.
A good Toho song.
Oh, it definitely is. Tempt a player to do what you want. If they do what you ask, they draw 2 cards.
Okay.
So that could be 2 free cards right there for something you're already possibly planning on doing.
Ooh, I like that. Archan will nod and say, "Your words have merit, Fairy. I will bear in mind what you've said here."
All right, ta-ta, XO. And
Are you taking the cards or not? That's kind of mechanically important.
no. It's if they do what you ask. They
So once
draw
it actually
2 cards.
kicks in. Right. I
Yeah.
see. I understand.
What's it called? I'm just going to note it down.
Desire Drive.
No, it doesn't fit. Damn it. Okay, I shall just put loads of spaff all over the thing. There we go.
It's all fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, cool. Fantastic. As Archan wanders away, behind you, you feel another couple tugs at your sleeve, Angelica.
Ah, you again?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if I'd have to go up to the cliff and yell, "Got your salt!" or something like that, but I'm...
It's fine. I was keeping an eye on you. I
How
have been
comforting.
hard at work. I know. She says in response to how comforting. Yes, I was having a chat with one of the other contestants. Well, the one that's still breathing anyway. And I told her a tale about working together with her, but all it would need is for a couple motorcycles, and she was like, well, I respect the strong and go fast and all the bullshit that she says. And she kind of like gestures in a much limper tada than the croupier at two motorcycles.
Okay, so we have two ingredients. How are we going to put them together? Would you happen to be able to create a conveniently funnel-shaped barrier that we could dump the salt behind us as we drive, or?
That was roughly the gist. Most of the
Good.
the barriers that I make are circular in design, and she essentially makes two surprisingly large like spheres of air that scoop into the salt and are filled with the salt, and then almost in a similar effect to her own self, the barriers just feel astoundingly mundane, like suspended orbs of salt is just a normal thing. It seems that she has two very specific kinds of magic that she uses, and the barriers float to hover behind the motorcycles.
Okay, and so now we do a big loop and meet on the other side, I suppose?
That's the plan.
Well, let's ride.
Mm-hmm. As they get on both of these motorcycles and peel off with a very kind of like a synth wave, like the tail lights leave a long trail behind as the bikes go away. We cut to, in the meanwhile, and maybe potentially slightly in the past, depending on what Trifas is getting up to, what Trifas was doing during this particular escapade on Hopeful Leap.
Hello. I went to a very isolated place. I went to the top of a nearby, I don't know, like a nearby hotel, because I know that the hotel that we were staying in or performing in was like the roof was inaccessible. So I went to a nearby hotel, and I think I'm setting up a ritual on the ceiling, or on the roof.
Absolutely.
Which has to do with my my character. It's on my character sheet. It's a character mechanic.
Absolutely cool. So tell us a little bit, because you mentioned at the start of the session about the particular performances that you've been doing of late that have had fans, even if they don't necessarily understand or remember what the performance was about. Why don't you go into a little bit more detail about the nature of those performances and how that might relate to what you're doing here?
Yeah, sure. I think she gets up on stage and she brings out a big old rusty Iron Maiden, and she juices mushrooms with it.
Yeah, delicately impaled on the ends of the spikes within the Iron Maiden, and then kind of like loudly clanged shut.
Right. And there's like, traditional like folk, Bulgarian folk music, Romanian folk music playing. It's good. Bulgarian? I don't remember what nationality she was. Either way.
And this is the how often do you do these? I guess in the minds of ordinary people, to try and rationalize it, it's kind of like outside of performance art. Not necessarily clocking that it is, in fact, a particularly worshipful ritual. But how often do you do that?
This one in particular, I don't do very often. This one I may have never done, but have studied. This is a sealing ritual, so one that I don't do often.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna do a draw, and then the thing, depending on the other side of it, is basically an item that you can activate later rather than it coming into effect immediately. Because if it comes into effect remotely from everybody else, there's no opportunity for conflict or sabotage. So on the other side of this will make something that you can activate, whether you choose to fail or not. This is again going to be tricky. This is grand magic at hand, so give me a difficulty 9. Beat a 9 for me, please.
Okay.
Although you could always choose to fail.
I do not.
Of course.
It's a 14.
Mm-hmm. So your willpower manipulation is coming.
It's more,
into play.
it's more in the manipulation. With this ritual, it's a lot of like touching mushrooms, grinding them into paste, writing runes out of the mushroom paste, opening and closing Iron Maiden in ritual succession and pattern. It's all very manipulative physically.
You exceed with a lot of force. It's not a critical success because there's a specific result for that, but you do definitely exceed in excess of what is needed. What is made on the other side of this?
I want basically like a Dungeons and Dragons banish spell to throw at the Trillbead Man.
Okay. Interesting. And this spell, what does it look like in a mundane sense, even though the magic is within it?
I think it's just like a bottled potion, honestly. Like it's pretty mundane, kind of doesn't fit the typical mushroom motif, but it was more about results than it was matching her own sense of style.
Absolutely. Okay.
It's this like thick brown, like chocolate milk looking potion.
Yeah, absolutely. What does the final stage of this kind of like look like? Say it was because this is also a performance in a way. What does the kind of like what does the closing pose, position, note of the music look and feel like as this kind of micro scene concludes?
Oh, so as like Trifas is doing the ritual that involves like the part of opening and closing the Iron Maiden, with each open like a field of mushrooms like pulses, and then with each close they like go back into the ground, so it's like a moving floor of pulsing mushrooms, sprouting and withering. And so finally, with the last note of what would be the performance, she closes the Iron Maiden and all the mushrooms explode rather than just wither. And so there's like a big puff of like pollen and other such mushroomy excretions.
This is covered in spores now. It's almost
right, spores. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And then they eventually kind of just get taken away by the wind as she's on the roof. And then she finishes with like a deep bow, like a 90-degree angle.
All right. I believe this is going to be the start of Act 3, as it were. It is not quite dawn in San Maleficarum, but this is a city in the middle of the desert, and once you're high up enough, you're able to kind of see the sun lapping at the desert sands and open plains, crawling across the ground towards this small node of civilization. The end of the game is approaching, and as far as you know, not that many people have been caught, but only one person is supposed to be alive at the end of this game, and all of you separately wonder what happens if there is more than one person alive by dawn. Let's see, where do we pick up? I think at this point I'm gonna start setting up a scene, and we're gonna start with Angelica, but anybody can kind of enter this scene as we go when you feel it is dramatically appropriate, if that makes sense. Cool. So we catch Angelica. How good are you at riding a motorcycle?
Honestly, good question. I feel like I've probably had to do it for a couple of music videos, though not for very long. So it's yeah. I would not call myself as talented as the driver who is able to manufacture them out of the air.
Yeah, you as you kind of peel around the Carina Carnival, really an all hours amusement park that is on the kind of like edge of San Maleficarum. You approach and see actually smoking wreckage in your path, and as you get closer, even if you slow down a little bit, you see that there is a body next to the motorcycle, a motorcycle on fire, and it appears to be a shriveled husk wearing a motorcycle helmet.
Well, looks like I don't have to worry about them anymore. Jeez. At least they wore their helmet, but
Yeah, funnily enough, it seems
Fat lot of good that did.
yeah, they didn't die from the crash, just what happened on the other side of that. You at the rate that you're driving, if you drove faster, you might be able to get this done sooner, but you're not quite sure if you can maintain that speed without crashing, and you do not have a helmet.
I'd be up to play a card for this.
Cool. Beat an 8 for me, please.
Don't mind if I do. I'm going to graze beating an 8, actually. I realized earlier at the beginning of the game, I think I said it was like equaling when you play a card, but that's not actually true.
It's all good. The tabletop RPG police are not going to arrest any of us.
I definitely did not write this game. Okay, so I'm using the impulse part of instinct to basically just really get in the zone, try to get some hot drifts on, but yeah, focusing on just completely narrowing my focus down to put the pedal to the metal and skirt any consequences.
Absolutely. You are making astounding progress. You kind of you feel that if this keeps up, you should be done with the barrier long before dawn, and then who cares what the status of the game is if they all have to kind of compete with whatever's inside.
Oh man, it's almost like this plan can't fail.
Yeah, no, nothing, no side effects happen. Everything currently is going on without a hitch. The world as it is does not come to menace you, although I'm not in charge of what the other players might do.
I forget, should this queen be discarded?
Oh,
I don't remember what for.
Right, that was for that last roll, so yeah, that can go. And oh yeah, because maintaining order of the discard pile is important.
I don't know who here would care about that.
But yes, you know, if nobody intervenes, then yeah, this plan will go off without a hitch.
I'm fine with that.
I'm currently I'm trying to decide what Archan's probably going to do. Probably wandering around trying to find where Trifas Fairy Trifas has got to. Again.
I because we're approaching the end of this narrative for both time and both pacing. If you are going to appearing in this scene would be advised.
Okay, no, good idea. Let's have a think. What's she likely to do? Probably might notice in fact, she would probably gone to a high point to see if she can see anybody. So if there's like an observation tower or something.
Easy enough to do. Easy enough to do. There's plenty of those in the city, and you do in fact see a streak of white along, and it's moving almost like the trail behind an aeroplane, but very much on the ground.
Okay. I think I would like to create a small gap in it, just as a knowing my own sort of knowing presumably the sort of things this can be used for, in case I need to find a way out of it at a push. I do have something called Chain Breaker in the earth. I don't know, which is break free of something trying to move, restrict, or confuse your body or mind.
Interesting.
It does have the tags clubs and Q, which I'm going to have to quickly ask our rules writer what that means, because I'm feeling a bit.
So that would mean to activate that you would need to play a
Queen of Clubs or higher.
yes.
Oh, okay. Right, I see.
Spells have more restrictions on them than
No,
regular
that makes absolute sense.
Your bonuses are applied to that, though.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So I think rather than using that, I'll probably be using my probably a card on Lot. No, what's that one? No, it's power. It'll be through power rather than anything else. If that makes sense.
Your diamond suit, huh? Right, okay. Let's think about a way that we can kind of make this a conflict rather than it just being a thing that you do with no repercussions.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Right, so let's see. The best way of making this happen is you can play a card for that straight away. I think that's fine. I think you're going to have to beat... You're not particularly close to it either. I would like you to beat a 9.
Okay.
What is your stat in diamonds?
It is 5.
Okay.
Which will now reduce down to 3 for this effect.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess sniped across the cityscape. What does this look like as you disturb the salt?
In fact, there'll probably be a minor tremor, sort of semi-localized in this sort of quarter of the city, and there'll just be the tiniest of cracks open over the road where part of the salt and the salt will just drain through into it over this very small area.
Meanwhile, Angelica, you meet up with your ally Jennifer at the end of the circle, and she is also oh my god, this is going to work. We're going to live. Right, concentrate, focus on the salt in the circle, and you can see the salt start to glow, and almost like an aurora emerging from the earth. Where you're standing, you can see this barrier slowly start to form upwards.
Nice, very nice. Keep going.
And it's going. It gets to about 6 feet off the ground, and then there's a pause, and it flickers.
What? Why did it stop? Why does it stop?
Thinking. I sense a hole. Something's disturbed the salt.
Where?
It's about, and she's almost kind of like Magneto or Professor X, like holding one hand to her temple to do this, and is gesturing with the other hand back the way you came. About a click that way, a kilometer that way.
I'll take care of it. You stay here and get this. Don't let this fall at the very least.
Absolutely not. Meanwhile, Archan, knowing where the gap in the barrier is, you have started calmly walking towards the exit, knowing that you can just step outside of whatever this is. Trifas, what are you doing? Where are you at?
I'm just waiting for the creeper to come and get me so I can throw my vial at him.
From the roof, you see Archon walking across just on the outskirts of town, like they're trying to leave, and there's just desert in that direction. which would be difficult to walk across. Most beings aren't going to survive that kind of environment. Not to think of what kind of latent magic San Maleficarum has, where walking through the desert is an imminently bad idea. But you also see maybe about a block behind them, and rather than the shuffle, a run. The Seeker closing in behind her on the way to the exit. Or
That's
on the way to
unfortunate.
the outskirts of the city. You don't know that it's necessarily an exit or anything.
That's unfortunate. I would have liked to spend more time with Archon before I also banished them. Oh well. The Seeker will come for me at some point, and I'll be ready. Saves me the trouble of having to strangle her. That's unfortunate she's going to have to die.
Yeah, I was going to say if you don't involve yourself, you may just consign yourself to death if you don't get in this three-way conflict.
Yeah.
But yes, indeed. Angelica, you kind of Akira style bike slide to where you see the hole is, and you also see Archon slowly walking a block away towards where you are and this gap.
Archon, didn't you have something you were supposed to be doing right now?
Archan. Very Angelica. I noticed there was some sort of tricksy fairy magic which would have curtailed movement.
It seems like you have something more important to be doing right now, don't you, Archon?
Joel tilt her head slowly. I remember I've not seen fairy Trifas for quite some hours.
Well, why don't you go and fix that instead of playing with some condiments?
Joel sort of and what for such a large quantity of salt ringing this entire city would you be using it for, fairy Angelica?
You don't need to worry about me. I'm worried about you not holding up your end of the bargain. I made you a very sweet deal, and if you're just going to flout it like that, well...
I do know.
I'm going to give you some very hard choices here.
Joel tilted her heads slightly and say, a deal was offered, but no terms were accepted. I simply don't feel like being contained again.
It seems like this is going to be to neutralize, to give ground in this particular thing is now going to be a conflict.
Indeed.
I think so this is going to be a first to two. There are currently 2 people involved in this conflict, unless a third would like to involve themselves. So for this first round, it's just going to be 2, and then it might expand into more as we go forward. So for this first round, what is the outcome that they would like? At the end of this, when you hit the 2, that means you've won the conflict overall, and a big thing will happen. But at least in terms of this first action, what do both of you want out of this first draw?
Yeah, good question.
It's tough for me to say what I want as the little thing, because this is mainly I just want to boot Archon, just kind of like DBZ, knock them way back so that they are stuck in the barrier and can't get out.
Oh, sure, but winning it might be the barrier is now closed, but the steps towards that can be the conflicts in between. So you can start off with boot to the chest if you would like to make that your first maneuver. Or it could be convince Archon that actually pursuing Trifas is a sensible idea that they should that they should act upon.
I think if it helps, particularly for my first one, it's going to be probably more, I want to say, like an intimidate to if there is going to be an aggressive movement towards. It'll be more actually locking eye contact. in an attempt to make a sort of think twice in this sort of suddenly hunter prey kind of situation. Like maybe I shouldn't be fighting up against this thing. So that's probably my minor action. I think if that helps. Will for Angelica's action.
Then I think I'd probably want to stand my ground and resist that. Not necessarily by being courageous, but more by just seeing straight through you and thinking about what I believe you're capable of and steeling myself for that.
Okay. Flip your cards face down and put them in the arena. Fantastic. As before, you have the opportunity to flip your card face up or withdraw from this round. You lose that card, but you gain 3. Revealing or withdraw in 3, 2, 1. Flip.
Withdraw.
Okay. So that card's now yours.
May have been better to do that before I flipped, but sure.
Sorry, I actually had my eyes shut as I was doing it.
Why?
Okay.
What does that accomplish?
So in case there was a delay between.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I love you getting into the emotion of it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I don't. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Sorry,
don't accidentally start cheating on it.
No. That just tickled me. That's all. Okay, fantastic.
Do I draw 2 for that?
You draw 3, I believe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you discard the card that you just.
We just did that. That's cool.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wunderbar. So go ahead, Angelica. Tell me how you gain ground and also gain 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like what we were saying before. Let's see, use she or they pronouns.
It seems to be pretty fluid. The body was she/her before.
Yeah,
but
it's more of an it, I think. Certainly.
Okay. Well, in any case, Archan was trying to put the fear of God into Angelica, basically, and Angelica was sizing you up, trying to figure out what you're really capable of, and felt quite confident. You step 2, I'm going to be able to. I might not be able to, face you in a one-on-one duel to the death, but I can hold you off for long enough to seal your fate, literally.
Meanwhile, Trifas, what's good?
If I don't know, Trifas, I think she's like a mushroom. She's just gonna wait. She has her plan. I don't really think that she would alter from it. If that's, me consigning her to lose, then that's how it works. But I'm playing the character as I see her, and I think she is gonna meditate and wait for the man to come, and then that's how she's gonna win in her mind.
Okay. All right. So, in the distance, you can now see, hear, and maybe even feel the sprinting footsteps of the Seeker as it tries to close in on you both.
Okay. On us both.
Yep.
Interesting.
It was already giving chase on Archan before you ran into each other, and now Archan stopped moving. It's starting to gain ground.
Yeah. Archan for first time for the session will suddenly looks like the please that a creature decides to meet a stare. He'll smile and say, Fairy Angelica, I will remember your name. And will put her hand to the ground and look like she's starting to channel magic. So it won't be anything yet, but if she wins, it'll be her spell getting ready for setup for if she wins the next one.
Okay, all right. When you're ready, flip over your face-down cards. What modifiers do we have applied to these cards? In terms of number?
That is a good question.
Now you got to think these through.
I've got to take these now.
You may very well die if you don't win this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this will probably be instinct.
Okay. Modify number?
4.
Okay.
Okay.
Angelica?
My modifier is also 4.
All right. Reveal a withdraw in 3, 2, 1. Flip.
Nice.
Angelica, you win
I'm-
this first to 2. Tell me a tale.
I'm sorry, Archon, but your fate was sealed from the start. You see, I've got a list of names, and yours was in red, underlined. When this all started, I was afraid of you, I'll be honest. I mean, sure, we were on good terms, but I knew you were powerful. You had ancient magics that could move the earth, and me, well, I just had a little flashy song and dance. But I got smarter. I got harder in the nick of time. And I think you'll find this is the end of the road for you.
Well played, Fairy Angelica. This vessel has probably seen its purpose.
Yeah, you complete the salt circle again, and almost as if there was like a rush of air and force, a silvery blue barrier separates the two of you as if you were an entire world apart. You look on, Angelica, as you see the Seeker. It's now right here, immediately behind Archan. It slowly reaches out a hand, and gently as anything, lays a hand on Archan's shoulder. Archan, I don't know whether you bothered to turn round before somebody making physical contact with you, but your shoulder burns, a pain that you have never felt before.
Sigh slightly. Finally, a new experience.
Angelica, there is a loud thud and a squish sound, and the view of the two of them is obscured by a spray of blood against the barrier.
Look what you made me do. And with that, Angelica turns and rockets off back to the nervous one.
Jennifer. Meanwhile, Trifas, you've been...
Sorry, I'm actually going to interrupt.
Oh, okay.
Before you leave, I'm going to activate my skill, Forbidden. When someone is about to exit a scene, you cut them off and block their exit, even if you weren't in the scene.
Play that card, baby!
Potentially use the crack that's in the floor near the barrier.
Yep.
Okay, so I need to get rid of that line because that no longer matters now. Let me just erase that. Boop. Okay, cool. I guess this is another first to 2.
Trifas, I was really hoping that grody old thing would get to you first. Honestly,
Go ahead.
it's audacious that you're here.
I spent
And I-
all night making a potion to deal with it, and I realized that you were the one that I needed to be dealing with this whole time. I think I wisened up and got past the salt circle before it was too late. It's a shame about Archan. She was nice.
She had a sunny side, but she stopped being useful.
All right.
Listen. You don't trust me, and I don't trust you. I think we can call this the end of the line.
I'm going to sacrifice some faith to draw some cards real quick.
Okay.
And basically, just to describe how I call upon my god, I'm going to
take out a mushroom from my pouch and crush it in between my hands, emulating the crushing of Iron Maiden. So I have 2 faith, and I'm going to burn both of them. And I'm going to draw 2 cards.
Okay. There is almost an intense metallic impalement noise, even though you just clasped it between your 2 hands. You feel a strange and lightly terrifying aura behind Trifas. Angelica, it seems that there is more on her side than just the mushroom she grows. And with that, we start another conflict. First to 2. What are the end game stakes here? So if you actually get your 2 wins, what do you want to happen?
I would like to crush her in my god's vengeful maws.
God, I don't. Do I have ooh? I'd like to create a light so bright it burns her out of existence.
Fuck me. Okay, hell yeah. Let's get witchy, ladies and gentlemen. I now like that as the next Arxis fighting game that comes out. Let's get witchy, ladies and gentlemen. Play 1. So yes, please do flip over a card and put it into the arena. Let me know the modifier, and we'll wait to the countdown.
This is a +2 that I have.
I have a +1.
Reveal or withdraw in 3, 2, 1. Play. Ooh, the jacks have it, I'm afraid.
Trifas, I'm sorry, but I'm the star, but you're the one who's going to be burning. And my diamond is my nature, which is, and my nature can extend, enchant, or entrap with using my element, light. I like to extend light, spreading it everywhere, and definitely partially blinding Trifas, if only for a brief moment.
Ow.
Yeah.
Now, here's where the cheese comes in. Does this count as making a show of spreading my element, allowing me to set my nature to 4?
Ooh. So, cinematically, this is taking place at dawn, and this place is actually getting an increased amount of light as this continues. So, I would say yes, actually. There is, as this draws on, an increased abundance of light in the field. Are you going to do some shenanigans and draw that jack back into your hand?
I'd love to draw this jack back into my hand. Thank you for mentioning. And I'll also take this. Why not? My nature is now 0.
I'm actually really glad you did that, because I have taboo. If I start an opposed conflict with one player and no other players are in the scene, I take a card from their hand.
Oh, ouch.
I'm gonna take that back.
Oh, the shenanigans.
Oh boy!
You don't know
Round 2!
You don't know what this card is, though, do you?
I don't at all, no.
Oh, man, that's the fun part, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Counting down. Revealing in 3, 2, 1.
I withdraw.
Alright, cool.
So, what happens in your end? How does your magic kind of take effect to score you a point in this conflict?
I sprout a towering mushroom to blot out the sun and bring us back into a more normal state of illumination. So we are now, within the shade of my beautiful Shram.
Mm-hmm. The top of the mushroom starts to sizzle in the intense light and heat. It is definitely coming down to the wire. Any more spell-based shenanigans before we go into the final round?
Never knew you were the type to order a nightcap.
Hey!
But yes.
No, I think that's all I got.
Okay.
Trifas does go a.
Hey!
Fantastic. Let's go on and place our final card of the game then.
Trifas, I'm going to be so mad at you if you hold back right now. When I destroy you, not just for trying to take this contest out from under me, but from trying to steal the stage from me, trying to just turn my career into nothingness and demeaning me at every turn. I want you to go all out so that when I crush you, I know that I defeated you at your full power. Do you hear me?
Understood. Daggers. And that's probably, I think, the first time that she's ever called you by your real name, which is meaningful. Nathan, I actually have some questions.
Mm-hmm.
So is that first round, does that count as winning an opposed conflict?
No.
That's the whole thing? Okay,
Mm-hmm,
all right. Second, when I'm sacrificing something important to a player, can that be me?
Huh. I mean, if I guess the context under which you're under, because of the game that you are playing in the narrative sense, not the better sense, every participant in the game is very important. But I'm wondering where you're going with this. It's very
well. I mean,
interesting.
I just want to know if I sacrifice something important to me, if that counts as triggering the gain 2 faith.
Oh, right, I see. I'm not sure about that. I think that's a will question.
It does, yes. I think you might have a hard time doing that, mid conflict without having that be part of one of your card plays.
Do it in the memory for the ancient basilisk who's now napping on the desert again.
Yeah, quick toggle flashback scene.
Oh, while this is going on, the Seeker is pounding against the barrier while you just see the body of what would be Emily just lying on the ground next to their feet.
Yeah, if I can't.
Can
I just
might be up
chuck?
against it.
Can I chuck the banishing potion to the side real quick? Can I do that in between? Can that count? I
mean, that would narratively probably be your play. Because the potion doesn't.
I mean, I don't want to throw it at that's
Oh right, as you're trying to
destroy it as the sacrifice. I want to just throw it aside and do that.
Okay.
During
the
monologue, maybe.
To advocate against myself for a brief moment, it was definitely cheesy of me to get the bonus nature then, since it does say that
important to the thing at hand. Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
it does say take some time, so. Let's let it happen.
Yeah,
I mean, I love cheese against cheese, absolutely.
No, you took the time to make the potion, and now you get to use it, even if it's in a way different. You won't be able to capture the Seeker anymore.
That's fine. I'm going to gain 2 faith from just tossing it aside and making a sacrifice to the jaws.
Yeah, I think you throw it in the air, and it just crushes invisibly into nothing. It seems to have been impaled on something, and the liquid inside the potion bottle splatters onto the ground as the glass slowly hangs in the air and then kind of slowly dribbles to the floor.
Fantastic. All right, I'm ready. +2.
Okay.
+2.
I should probably set some music for this. Give me a second.
I think we definitely need a heartbeat in the background or something.
Man, if I planned for that, then maybe I have that shit.
It's fine. I'm listening to a metal cover of "Toxic" by Britney Spears in the background.
Yes.
Actually, it's probably quite good with the
Actually,
metal
no. We'll go and play music on the other side of it, depending on who wins. I think that's probably the better way to go, because I have music that is appropriate to either of your characters, but it depends on the reveal. So, if everybody's ready,
Ooh.
reveal or withdraw in 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
Oh.
So, what modifiers does an ace get over a face card again?
So aces are normally worth 1, but if it's played against a face card, it's worth 15.
Damn.
Yep.
We both had a modifier of 2, so that's a 17 versus a 13, I believe.
Very nice.
Nice.
And with that, let's go put some tunes on as you talk about how you finish this up.
To tip the cards while Nathan gets that ready. The reason why I was saying I want you to go all out was because I really wanted you to play a face card.
Which I did.
This is how true Mystic Lilies is played. Anyway, rad pop music is playing. Go for it.
Okay, so basically, let's see. That was a diamonds card. So you were coming at me with all of your horrible fungal witchy barf magic. Just all the dankest shit from every corner of the universe and just throwing it at me all at once. And I think Angelica just like strikes a cute pose, snaps her fingers, and there's a sunburst as she had successfully taunted you into throwing everything into that one attack. And instead of throwing her own attack to clash with yours, she just basically magically sidestepped out of the way with the power of light. And now that your whole ass is out, as it were, I think she raises a hand over her head, and you can hear the sizzling of the mushroom overhead. And you fall to your knees, close up on Angelica's lips. Baby, can't you see? It's calling for you. And then she throws her hand down, and it is like the sun itself falls onto you, turning you into ash. And
in fact, if the barrier was not there, you would have started torching the city with the strength of that.
True, yeah. We can actually watch like the sun bend around the barrier as the barrier, I think, cracks in places and then rapidly tries to heal itself.
Mm-hmm. There is a gust of desert air, and ash blows across the wastes, leaving only Angelica. You casually move back to the motorcycle, weirdly unharmed. And as you start to drive back to Jessica, the Seeker is against the barrier. It seems that the closer it gets to dawn, the faster they move. And you driving around the barrier, it's sprinting and keeping up with you on the other side of it.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, you reach back to Jessica again, and she's like, the barrier was completed! We're inside! We're fine! We live! We live! Oh my god! And she tries to go to hug you.
And I think it was inevitable. Oh man. Yeah, she goes to hug me, and I think like the hug starts. Oh, good job. You did it, Jessica.
You're really hot for some reason. Like, it
oh,
actually seared slightly on impact.
Angelica holds her tighter in the hug.
Mm-hmm. Stop!
You know, a girl like me should wear a warning. And I think you just watch Jessica start to grow brighter and brighter as Angelica's arms wrapped around Jessica just move closer and closer to her chest until it's just like Angelica's giving herself a hug.
Mm-hmm. In trying to flee, her arms bat uselessly against your sides, trying to escape the embrace, but it is too late. The Seeker stands still, maybe for the first time in the last 6 or so hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it just waits there. Before long, a limousine tries to exit the strip and comes to a barrier. And a 10-year-old in a butterfly mask and a very expensive suit gets out carrying a parasol and moves up to the barrier, and with one immaculate brogue kicks at the salt, which breaks the seal and the barrier fades. And walks up to you, Angelica, and says, "My, it's a sunny morning."
Love to see the sunrise.
That was an impressive last-second betrayal there.
Oh, thank you. But I mean, maybe some people saw it coming.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a good thing too. After all, I did say it was the last person standing, and if you decided to collude, well, I would just have to make an additional punishment game for you both.
Oh, I'd hate to break the rules.
Indeed, but your prize. I have it with me here.
Yippee!
For the first time, a youthful joy takes over Angelica for a fraction of a second. Actually, I think then the theme of the croupier kicks back in. We can kick back the childish theme that we had at the start of it again, as he rummages around inside his blazer and pulls out a golden poker chip with a ta-da! Like, diegetically, there is a fanfare upon the removal of it. You won! I loved watching that game. You were all fantastic. Now, you can wish for the luck of the city itself. You can achieve so much. Do you feel lucky now?
Oh, I feel luckier than I've felt in years. And
well,
yet,
then call it. Heads
why
or
am I so
tails?
alone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, I killed them all.
When you say, "Oh, right, I killed them all," is that, like, in character? Like, "Oh, yeah, I killed them all, haha."
Yeah, no, and, like, turning to the camera and saying that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you feel lucky, heads or tails, as the croupier flips the poker chip like a coin as it rotates in the air slowly, and it flies into the air. Do you actually call heads or tails?
Heads.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not turning tail now.
And it, like, eclipses the sun in the shot, and then it smash cuts to black. And the credits start rolling. This
Ooh, very nice.
Blumhouse-looking ass cheap budget horror movie.
Oh my god, is this Inception?
Oh, you know, I shoot all my I run all my games as if they were TV shows or movies.
Honestly, perfect ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Congratulations! Thank you for playing Mystic Lilies, the Kairos game.
Oh man, good job everyone.
No,
I'm
it was
sorry I'm
great.
such a bad sport that I always have to win at my own game,
No,
but
no. It's really good to get your ass kicked by like the creator of the game. Like, it's,
No, absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
really like get everything exploited, and you're just like, oh shit, yeah, I really got fucked there.
I was just sat there looking at my hand, going, "I think they've got this." don't think I'm getting out of this one.
Yeah.
You have so many you play Magic and Force of Will in that. You know that a good hand size is a critical advantage. It's true in this game too. So go ahead.
I also got some just extremely lucky draws. Like, my first hand was garbage. I threw that out, and like everything I got after that, with a couple small exceptions, was really solid.
Cards.
So
Yeah.
I think I saw most of the threes, and I was sat there going, I've not seen any aces yet. I reckon if Will's not got an ace in hand, he's about to draw. They're about to draw into one.
I had two in my hand. Yeah.
No, Will can attest that I love playing Mystic Lilies to win. Also, I will count cards if necessary. I'm a terror. So
it was honestly a.
Thanks. Cool. It's fine.
Bullshit.
It's fine. We can just enjoy the void. I'll put some background music on while we do comments and kudos, and continue to talk about how we feel about the session. But Will, you were saying?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna real quickly say it was honestly an incredible moment when, in the end of a long-running Mystic Lilies campaign, Nathan's character winning or losing the fate-deciding best of 3 conflict came down to Nathan going like, okay, well, surely they don't have this card in their hand. I've been counting all of the cards, and the chance that they haven't played this card is so small, and they did it anyway.
There was only one ace left in the running, an ace of spades, and I was spec'd in spades. So I'm kind of like, well, I'm fishing. I spent the last couple of rounds actively fishing for it, because if I had that, then I couldn't be beaten by basically anything. And I'm like, well, this is the final play. I haven't drawn it. There's a decent number of cards in the deck still left, and if I play a face card, I can win this quite cleanly with the stats that I have, as long as they don't have the final ace. Oh boy, did they have the final ace! That was in the same conflict where one of the other players had already fallen out of the running, and they had filled their hand by taking cards out of my hand, so I knew exactly what they had left, and. Based in a similar kind of play that you did in terms of baiting Marcy to play a face card, knew that they were going to go and play a specific card. It's like, well, I know exactly what card you're going to play. It was a very big Yu-Gi-Oh moment, and I had a fun time. That is genuinely why I love this game, because it has those kind of plays like that. But yeah. Let's do some kudos.
Oh man, I want to give my kudos to Marcy for being just real gross, that I am sad that the Bartholomew didn't play a slightly bigger role, but also maybe for the best. I appreciated the dedication to the aesthetic. Real goblin core, I guess.
Thank you so much.
God core.
I would like to extend my kudos to Will for just giving everybody an ass whooping with their own game, as it's meant to be, for not holding back, for exploiting everything that is to be exploited, and just doing it hard. I love that, and it was an honor to get completely baited and just disintegrated right at the end there, after I thought I had done such a clever thing by waiting and exploiting a game. Yeah. I was like, hey, look, I'm exploiting a mechanic by waiting until the very end to show up. Oh, never mind.
That was nice, though. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Oh, it was great. Absolute kudos to Will as well for designing this fantastic system, and their absolute trash bag character that they were running with.
1, thank you very much. 2, I will definitely admit that I just had the lyrics to Toxic and Look What You Made Me Do open in 2 separate tabs that I referred to occasionally. I'm not proud.
No, it was good.
Absolutely not.
I definitely appreciated that. That is the other thing I like about ML, in that in a realm where tabletop is predicated around being a high fantasy hero where you murder big swathes of people but you're the good guy, This is a game very specifically where you're it's not interested in being a good person at all, and that's the point. It's not trying to hide behind the fact that, oh, but I'm noble, really. No, you're all just shit.
I would love
delightfully shit.
Absolutely. I would love to play this one in a more longer running sort of setup, because I think when you start to build up because with a one-off, you've obviously got the character that you play, but you don't quite build up the relationship you do with the other characters over the course of a longer campaign, and I can imagine that just making the final betrayals at the end all the more fantastic for it.
Oh yeah,
It'd be really interesting to see character progression as well with this game. I think that would be really neat.
Oh yeah, Last Words are a fun time. They are a super move that essentially, how to phrase this, it is very likely you'll win a game if you use your last word. However, upon finishing your last word, you are out of the story, regardless of where you are or the stakes therein. The last mini campaign we played that Will ran, one of us popped last word, and then all of us popped last word. So even though there was a winner of that final exchange, we all died.
Fantastic.
Very good. Very good. Oh, any final thoughts before we close it out for today? Be gay, do crime. There we go.
Yeah, be gay, do crime.
If you would like to support Mystic Lilies and the wide variety of fantastic tabletop RPGs that Will Yule puts out into the world, you can go to merrymancergames.com, which is on your screen, so I don't even need to put it in the Twitch doobly-doo. Go buy and play them. They kick ass. If you would like to see more indie RPGs that are like gay as hell or weird as hell, stay tuned to this channel where we continue to make that good content. Thinking about what's going to be happening in the future on the channel, there will be, as usual, another Arcana Core session next month. We have not finalized the date for that. We are moving on to case 3 of what is looking to be 4 cases. It will be Social Links time, so you'll get to see these 3 players as well as Ruben having some good Persona downtime conversations before getting into a case that is probably going to involve the Yakuza. In addition to that, I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to be doing this in November or December, probably December, but I will be doing a one-shot of Net Battlers, which is another Will Yule original based on the Mega Man Battle Network series of video games. It is a vaporwave-themed exploration of a mall after dark, and it is a very good session that I wrote a while ago that I'm going to remix for air, and I'm very looking forward to running that. So those 2 are definitely going to be coming up. Smaller games in between, we're going to see what happens. We're all very tired. COVID does that to a motherfucker. And organizing disparate one-shots is actually kind of tricky, but I'm doing my best. Hopefully I'm doing a good job for y'all. I would really love to run Era in Terra, which is a system that I wrote alongside Ruben. We haven't had the chance to go and play that for air. So that might be the other big thing that happens in November, aside from Arcana Core, I think. Fantastic. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all in the future. But until next time, be gay, do crime.
Eat mushroom.